All right, part two. Let's get this ball rolling. I have a little bit of yogurt I'm going to try to eat while I'm talking. Thank you for being here. Please hit your like button if you'd be so kind. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, consider subbing up. Turn on your notification bell to ring. You can share this video while we're live if you think someone is interested in reading the arrest affidavit for Barry Morphew, but doesn't want to actually read it. Hey! Oh, and I got my arrow back, so this is good. Thank you so much for letting me know right away that I was frozen. Since I'm reading so much, it would be sad to have to reread. Okay. I'll just start with the Barry interview May 11th. I think I left off right in here. In the early morning hours of May 11th, 2020, CCSO Detective Burgess and your affiant interviewed Barry Morphew. Yeah, I remember that part. Barry explained that he left his residence at approximately 5 a.m. on May 10th, 2020 to travel to Broomfield. Hello, Sherry. Yeah, I don't know Annabise, but it's good because now I have my cursor back. So that's awesome. And then I can keep highlighting different comments. I love it. And it's so much easier to do everything. It's terrible when I have to do the touch screen. Let's see. Broomfield, Colorado for a construction job. He did not speak to his wife, Suzanne, that morning because she was still asleep when he left. Barry stated that his daughters were to return to their home on May 10th from a camping trip. Barry said that he texted his wife to wish her happy Mother's Day and did not get a response, possibly due to poor cell service at their residence. Yeah, that's another weird thing, is that their residence had bad cell service, but something good if you're trying to isolate somebody. And if you have bad cell service, why not get a landline? I don't think they had a landline. I could be wrong. 5 years ago, it wasn't that uncommon to have a landline. Of course, now it is. Let's see. Barry said that he texted his wife to wish her a happy Mother's Day and did not get a response, possibly due to poor cell service at their residence. Barry said that he tried to text her again later that morning, again with no response. Barry reached his daughters via text messages, and they also stated they could not reach their mother. Barry specifically provided his route of travel to Broomfield, and in all subsequent interviews with CBI, Barry never stated that he turned west on Highway 50. Ooh, see, this is so good. I mean, just that right there by itself. Anything he did was so premeditated. You know what this made me think, Annabise, and I'm going to try to stay focused on reading, but it made me wonder if Brian Laundrie's taking the life of Gabby, if it was premeditated or if it was accidental. Because I always thought it was premeditated. I'm wondering if it's accidental. I think it's premeditated because I think that he also took the lives of Crystal and Kylan, and that she figured it out, or she knew. But maybe he didn't do the other two, and maybe it was accidental. I don't know. It's good to ask questions. It's not good to think you know the answers to things you don't know, but it's also good just to go straight to the document. So that's what we are doing here, because this is magnificent. So he never, for an entire year, he never stated that he turned west on Highway 50. Or is this just 2 days on the second day? Maybe it's just on the second day. Let me see. Yeah, I think it's just talking about the second day of the investigation. Barry explained that his wife's plan for May 10th was to clean the house and get the spare bedrooms ready for their two daughters coming back, with possibly a friend to visit. I think that that's contradicted by his daughters, but we'll see. Barry said that his wife rides her mountain bike every day. He added that Suzanne was diagnosed with cancer twice in her life and she beat it. Barry said that he owned firearms and that all the firearms and ammunition are stored in a locked gun safe in the garage. It should be noted that on May 11th, 2020, while law enforcement searched the Morphew residence, 2 firearms were located at the residence that were not inside a gun safe. A high-powered rifle was located in a closet on the ground floor in a closet. The rifle appeared to be spray painted in a camouflage pattern, and your affiant could not locate a serial number. A Benelli 12 gauge shotgun was found lying against the wall in the garage. That's cray cray. Gun safety. Hello. Also, a loaded 22 long rifle cartridge was located lying on the floor in the master bedroom near the right side of the bed. After affiant ended the interview with Barry, he was told that law enforcement was going to seize his truck and process it. So here's some footnotes. It should be noted that when the residence was searched, law enforcement did not locate a charging cable on either side of the bed. Remember, it was said that Suzanne always had her charging cable on her bedside table. 10th footnote, Barry's phone entered airplane mode at 4:32 a.m. and he altered his numerous prior accounts to law enforcement to match phone and truck evidence when speaking to FBI agents in April of 2021. Barry said he turned left on Highway 50 when leaving his house the opposite direction of heading to Broomfield because he saw a bull elk crossing the road. Barry eventually pointed to an area on a Google map that indicated he turned his truck around at an exit in Garfield, Colorado, about 5 miles in the opposite direction of his trip. The 11th footnote, Suzanne's helmet was discovered off the south side of Highway 50, west of the County Road 225 entrance that leads to the Morphew's Puma Path residence. 12, this is the same unfired 22 round previously referenced above. So we're at the top of page 8 of the affidavit, page 9 of this whole document. May 11th, let me take a drink real quick. I think of Brian was premeditated too, but I could be wrong also. Agree, Annabise. Well, I think all 3 of us are pretty smart, so let's just trust our intuition. Seriously, that's like really all you have in the end is your intuition, your instinct, right? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he said it was accidental, right? Like she tripped and fell and then he was trying to help. And then he said that he intentionally took her life, but it was accidental that she was injured. So there's usually some truth in the lie, but let's just stay focused here. That's a whole nother conundrum. I can't wait till they find him alive and bust him. And his parents. And Bertolini, his gangsta lawyer. He put her out of her misery, right? Yeah. Well, yeah, she was miserable because he was with her. He did put her out of her misery, but just not in a good way. Let's see, where are we? The top of it's actually page 10 of 131. On May 11th, 2020, search of Puma Path residence. On May 11th, 2020, pursuant to an authorized search warrant obtained by your affiant, while assisting with the search of the exterior of the residence, your affiant located what appeared to be suspect blood on the apron of the garage near the east side of the 3-car garage. Additionally, it was noted by your affiant and other investigators that there was a Bobcat skid steer parked in a parking area driveway west of the Morphy residence. Next to the skid steer south was a flatbed trailer. The trailer was in its tilt position. The trailer bed had some loose gravel and dirt on it. The trailer did not have a jack on it, and the tongue of the trailer was lying on the ground. The skid steer was parked to the left side near the trailer tongue. The items were positioned such that the skid steer bucket appeared to have been used to unhitch the trailer from the vehicle and most likely Barry's truck and set the trailer on the ground. Yeah. That's what he said, and you can pretty much be guaranteed that everything he said is a lie, just the same way with Barry, right? You know they're lying if their lips are moving. Your affiant examined the skid steer and noted that the cutting edge of the skid steer bucket had been recently replaced, so there was no wear on it. It was also noted several larger bolts and nuts were lying in the skid steer bucket and on the front end of the trailer bed. Suzanne's helmet. On May 13th, 2020, search teams located what they believed to be the bicycle helmet Suzanne would have been wearing. Investigators located a photo of Suzanne prior to this date with Suzanne wearing the helmet, documenting its teal color. This item was located at the following GPS coordinates: approximately 0.84 miles northwest of the site the bicycle was located, approximately 10 meters south of Highway 50, and about 1.52 miles from the Morphy residence. Inside the helmet, law enforcement located a piece of paper in the top portion of the helmet with Suzanne's name, phone number, and address, as well as Barry redacted and redacted phone numbers. This item was collected by law enforcement and placed into evidence. And footnote 13, in a news story that aired on Fox 21 on August 21st, 2020, Barry stated that he had an inconsistency with one timeline, adding that Barry stated that he had, quote, an inconsistency with one timeline, adding that, quote, I was only because when I just didn't know the time that I did something, a mechanical thing to my Bobcat. I was confused and just found out my wife was missing, end quote. So that's interesting. An inconsistency with one timeline. Okay, I wasn't saying it right. So he stated that he had an inconsistency with one timeline. All right. And so here's a photograph. I'll try to show the photos when I can, even though I don't know that they'll show up very well. Again, I'll put the link to the document. The link to this document is in the description of yesterday's video. And this is a map that shows very graphically like where their house is. And so Puma Path and State Route 225 and then Highway 50. So Highway 50 goes along the ridge of the road there. So he got caught in two lies right off the bat. Right. It's just his bad memory. Yeah. Good observation, Annabise. But yeah, they were suspicious of him before he even got there or they were at least suspicious of the bicycle. Like they already determined that the bicycle didn't look right, that there was no markings of anything other than the bike being placed there. So they thought some kind of crime right away. One sec. Who's trying to get in? Come here. No, I don't know about this, puppies. Come here, baby. Come here. Oh, I got the little mop top, you guys. We could all use some puppy love right about now. I was always sad that Suzanne didn't have a cat or a dog, being out there all alone, without friends, without her daughters, especially during COVID. A lot of people adopted animals during COVID. A lot of people didn't even keep them. Doesn't she look like a lemur? She's such a cutie. Oh, she's such a good girl. She's getting better. So still have Coco, and that's Chi. So half the dogs are in the room, the other half are out there. We've got a little, the Chewini, Mookie, our dog, and then we have a little Pomeranian mix that is my son's and his wife's, and they're at the in-laws today with the baby. So anyway, let's see what, yeah, she is such a sweetie pie. Like I said, she's getting better. She was a rat initially. She was insane. She's still a little crazy, but not so bad. Where was I? On May 13th, search teams were still searching areas in the proximity of Suzanne's bicycle and helmet, as well as law enforcement driving roads in those areas, attempting to locate Suzanne. What are you chewing? No. She does chew a lot. Let's see. During this effort, law enforcement located what they believed to be fresh tire impressions in a piece of cloth with a reddish-brown unknown substance on it. Also located in this area of the piece of cloth, tire impressions were located. These tire impressions were casted on May 14th, 2020 by deputies with the CCSO. As of the present date, these items appear to be unrelated to Suzanne's disappearance. CBI crime scene report. FBI Special Agent Grushing provided the following excerpts from the CBI crime scene report, lab case number, written by CBI crime scene analyst Tanya Atkinson. Regarding the interior of Barry's F-350 on May 12, 2020, the interior of the truck was cluttered with several personal items. The interior dash area was dusty and dirty. Yeah, she is so cute. How do they like the baby? Oh, the dogs are great with the baby. They're great. That little baby is so sweet. Such a love bug. Let's see. Regarding Suzanne's white Range Rover on May 19th, 2020. Oh, and I didn't put that in quotes about the interior of the truck was cluttered with several personal items. The interior dash area was dusty and dirty, end quote. And then about Suzanne's white Range Rover, we got quote, there were personal items to include Suzanne's driver's license and credit cards throughout the vehicle. Items from the interior were pulled out by sections or areas and photographically documented on butcher paper. Some of the items collected included a woman's jacket and knit cap in the rear, pairs of sunglasses, and a key in the glove compartment. A Camelback, that's the thing that you wear full of water with the hose to drink while you're riding, and sunglasses in the front passenger seat, spa chemicals on the front passenger floorboard, and a Scott bicycle service receipt in the front driver door. So here's a few footnotes. Number 14, map provided by S.A. Grushing, FBI, using GPS coordinates from CCSO incident reports. Note the position of the helmet west on Highway 50. Number 15, interior condition of Barry's truck conflicts with his subsequent statements to CBI and FBI that the purposes of his 5 trash runs in Broomfield were to clean out his truck. Brilliant. 16, Suzanne's Instagram pictures above of her bike riding have her blue Camelback water pack visible, making it unlikely she would take a bike ride without it. And then we are at the top of the next page, which is where the photographs that they just mentioned are. It's 3 photographs. It looks like selfies of her in the middle of some bike rides. Maybe the same bike ride. I don't know. And yeah, different places. It says Mount Chavon something, Little Rainbow Trail, and Methodist Mountain. And yeah, it looks like she's wearing different jackets in each one of them. Okay. Regarding the tranquilizer dart cap on May 19th, 2020, a plastic needle cover was located in the dryer drum. This was collected by CCSO along with additional items and swabs from different areas, end quote. The needle cover was recovered with sheets from redacted bed inside the dryer. Wow. So leads me to think that she might have been passed out on that bed, and that might be where he violated her. I mean, let's just keep going. Section 2, Suzanne's attempts to leave Barry and her affair. Suzanne told numerous close friends, her daughters, and Barry that she wanted out of her marriage, yet Barry refused to listen to her. She suspected Barry of having affairs for years and kept her affair very secretive to protect her daughters and the family of Jeff Liebler. A small portion of interviews and evidence of her attempts to leave Barry and her affair follows. Sheila Oliver interview. Wow, that says a lot. Yeah. But his truck was still a mess. 3 lies now. Yep. Good job, Anna Bees. Thank you for being here and tracking everything. Take a quick bite of yogurt. I just don't want to get like lightheaded. This is like a reading marathon. It's like a sport. Let's see. On May 11th, 2020, CCSO Detective Burgess conducted a phone interview with Sheila Oliver, Suzanne's best friend, who lives in Indiana. Sheila had constant communications with Suzanne via text messages and Snapchat messages until Saturday, May 9th. Sheila said that Suzanne promptly checks her Snapchat messages, and Sheila was worried that Suzanne did not read 3 Snapchat messages from her on May 9th, 2020 at 6:40 p.m., at 6:48 p.m., and 6:48 p.m. Suzanne had been very excited about the wedding of Sheila's daughter on May 10th. So this wedding that happened virtually, it was a virtual wedding on May 10th. I forgot all about that until just now. Because when I read through the entire document in one sitting, I skimmed a lot of it. Suzanne was helping Sheila prepare and eager to watch it online. Sheila provided text with Suzanne with the following. March 25, 2020. Suzanne, taking care of myself physically in a stressful marriage. Redacted and I had a very tough talk yesterday. She's weary of the tensions here. She knows how he is toward me and almost begged me to divorce him. So that's got to be Macy. Hey, what are you doing, girl? Don't be chewing up the rug. Stop that. Sheila, what does he want? Have you talked any more about splitting? Suzanne, he threatens, but I've never come out and said I wanted it today. He thinks I'm holding on till after Macy graduates, at least. He probably thinks I'm not strong enough to do it given finances. Again, the irony, because she's Miss Moneybags. She's the one with all the money. He's just so controlling, and he tries to pretend he's the one with all the money because he owns the company. Granted, he has a lot of sweat equity, but you got to remember that her family's money is what set him up with this big business, so he could be like the big boss man, right? So he could pretend that he's like tough guy with these big projects. Hey, stop! No, don't be chewing on that. Come here, baby. Come here, Chi. You're not chewing up the rug. You would never do that. Okay. Let's see. Suzanne, Macy even mentioned a restraining order. I'm sick. I had a conversation like that with my 16-year-old. Sheila, he's nuts. Suzanne, it's Jekyll and Hyde again, which supports my idea that he was probably abusing substances. Pretty much told him I can't be healthy and stay in this. Sheila, what did he say? Suzanne, he threatens to come home and pack. Ugh. Suzanne, he won't speak of divorce, begging for another chance. I'm so torn, but my heart, I know who he is. But in my heart, I know who he is. It's a typo there. During the interview, Sheila also told Detective Burgess that she was so concerned with Barry's behavior that she purchased a spy pen for Suzanne, which she gave to her in January 2020 when she met up with Suzanne in Florida. This device was designed to record conversations covertly. The downloaded audio files of the spy pen conversations, I like to do the quotes, of the spy pen conversations will be summarized in section 4. Sheila told FBI agents in 2021 that Barry called her in the summer of 2019 when Suzanne was in Michigan, asking why Suzanne was not returning his calls. He stalked Suzanne and Sheila at the Puma Path House in September 2019 to see what Suzanne was up to, sneaking through the woods, and of earlier accounts in Indiana when Barry suspected Suzanne may have had a boyfriend before they got married. I wonder if that was Liebler, but I don't know. Melinda Beaumonk interview. Melinda Beaumonk was interviewed by the FBI Special Agent Richard Tipton on May 19th, 2020 at the FBI office in Knoxville, Tennessee. Beaumonk is the sister of Suzanne and last talked to her on Friday, May 8th via text message. Beaumonk sent a text to Suzanne on Mother's Day, May 10th, and received no response. For the previous 6 months, Suzanne had texted Melinda and told her that things were getting tense between her and her husband, Barry. Excuse me. Beaumonk advised that Suzanne told her that she had come to realize what a narcissist her husband, Barry, was, and that she had come to terms with his narcissistic ways. Beaumonk described Barry as one who lives a double life, a liar, an adulterer, a bully, one that has to have control, cunning, fools people a lot, end quote, loves money, and treats his wife and daughters as trophies. Beaumonk advised that her sister Suzanne was a codependent person and was very dependent on her husband Barry. They lived a phony life and would often put on a front as if they were happy together. Beaumonk thought that it was unusual for Redacted, so that would be Macy and Mallory, to take a road trip on Mother's Day weekend, especially with the coronavirus pandemic. Beaumonk advised that she received a phone call from her father, who lives in Michigan, on Monday, May 11th, to tell Beaumonk that Suzanne was missing. On November 20th, 2020, Special Agent Grushing spoke with Beaumont about the message Suzanne sent her on Friday, May 8th, 2020, 9:28 a.m. And here's a footnote number 17 on 4/22/21. FBI agents informed Barry of this message on March 25th, 2020, that Suzanne discussed divorce with him. Barry stated he did not recall that discussion. Top of page 12 of the affidavit and 14 of the 131. It's hard dealing with the harsh abrasiveness and having to show respect. Wait, quote, it's hard dealing with the harsh abrasiveness and having to show respect. He's also been abusive emotionally and physically. There's so much. I went through a period of acceptance and I feel more angry now, anger at what I've allowed, end quote. Beaumont told Special Agent Grushing that she did not have context for why Suzanne texted on May 8th that Barry was physically and emotionally abusive. She had not discussed those things with Suzanne and was surprised to see her text that. When Beaumont found out on May 11th that Suzanne was missing, she said, damn it, end quote, to herself because she was certain that Barry killed her. Wow. Beaumont described years of Suzanne being a submissive housewife to Barry in Indiana, allowing him to control their finances, and Suzanne's longtime suspicions about Barry having affairs. Beaumont said Suzanne loved Barry and wanted to be a good wife and mother to her two girls. Beaumont thought the primary reason for the move to Colorado was Barry's long-term desire to move there for hunting. She thought Suzanne threw caution to the wind and moved in an attempt to save their marriage and start over. Beaumont provided documentations that Suzanne inherited approximately $208,000 from their mother, Adrienne, passing away in 2013, and another approximate $217,000 when her grandmother-in-law, Helen Burnett, passed away in 2016. So almost $500,000 right there. Notes from Suzanne's phone. On July 7, 2020, FBI computer scientist Brian Turner recovered a file from the return of search warrant on Apple for the redacted. This file appeared to contain notes that Suzanne wrote to herself in her Apple account on or before Friday, May 8th, 2020. This attachment shows that the notes were backed up to the cloud on May 8th at around 7:01 a.m. to 7:03 a.m. C.S. Turner retrieved the notes that contained 60 lines of apparent issues Suzanne had with Barry. Excerpts from these lines include monkey app, physical abuse, mental abuse while drinking New Year's Eve, name calling, said, I only need for money, women on Facebook, good for business, lies about deer, pants unzipped, trip to Colorado, pen on hand, wear bear claw face mask time in Arizona, angry, stalking Sheila and me in-house without telling, lied and said you needed phone to call Casey, chased me around resort and threatened, took phone, not safe, alone with you, can't be trusted, oppressive, slam on brakes when angry. Oh, that's scary. Footnotes. 18. Suzanne's grievance list included multiple references to Barry controlling the finances. See recording pen section. 19. Monkey app is an application on a phone that can function as a dating website. And top of page 15 of 131. Threatened to jump out of car, gun, Shame and guilt daily for not meeting expectations. Nothing to do with infidelity, everything to do with your character and who you are at core. Your lack of control over me, insecurities, a sick relationship, situation with redacted when I'm in, accuse me of going behind your back, got up and left redacted and me at the table, left plate, no comment, just to watch TV, act like I'm intruding in the garage, verbal abuse, writing checks for cash out of business account, wiring money from investment account without asking or discussing, Monex in your name only, pull redacted in hurting her as one of the daughters. He hurt one of the daughters. I would guess Macy, because she's the one that's suspicious of him and thinks they need a divorce, but left 2 times on treatment week. So being her cancer treatment, leaving her alone during her cancer treatment. Yikes. Bedroom profession about marrying, having babies, and sleeping together. Don't care about pregnant possibilities. Hot tub, talking to self, question mark. Accused me of boyfriend and redacted 5/6. Oh, I think 5/6 means May 6th, so just 3 days prior. I'll read that again. Accused me of boyfriend and redacted May 6th. Wrote in Al-Anon book, knew I was looking at phone in bonus. And there's a quotes after that. Is that a quote or yeah, that's a quote. May 6, 2020 message to Barry. Pursuant to an authorized search warrant, Barry's Verizon phone was searched by FBI examiner Jim Stevens, who found an image that Barry likely swiped the message off his screen and the swiped image was inadvertently saved. Oh, interesting. This message was not recovered separately in Suzanne's phone or Barry's phone. This image appears to be a message from Suzanne to Barry. The date of this message was May 6th, 2020 at 10:13 a.m. See below. And it's a text that she sent him that says, I'm done. I could care less what you're up to and have been for years. We just need to figure this out civilly. And then a couple of footnotes. The BF stands for boyfriend. The redacted for the cancer medication Suzanne was taking. And May 6th, 5/6 for May 6, 2020, as confirmed by Barry to FBI agents in interviews in March and April of 2021. In the 21st footnote, Suzanne dropped redacted off in Gunnison at redacted apartment on the afternoon of May 5th, leaving her alone with Barry from that evening through Mother's Day. Suzanne sent the "we just need to figure this out civilly" end quote text on the morning of May 6th. Upon the recovery of Suzanne's spy pen, Special Agent Grushing and Special Agent Kenneth Harris began prioritizing anyone named Jeff in Suzanne's social media, phone records, or other accounts. On the pen, Suzanne spoke to an unknown male named Jeff while she was in Florida as if he was her lover, but no last name or phone number was provided. One sec. Let me use some chapstick too before I get to a point where I really need it. This is one of my favorites. It's Burt's Bees Pomegranate. It's so good. So good. Okay. Another drink and then I'll keep reading. Hey, Fred Field, how are you? I'm reading through the arrest affidavit for Barry Morphew. So if you're interested in this case, you'll be quite interested. And if you're not interested in this case, you'll be bored to tears. So nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. And Anna B says, well, at least she had someone who cared about her. Oh, totally. I was actually really happy for her when I found out about her affair, because I thought she was just like wallowing in pain and negativity and had, not a lot of happiness in her life. But it's nice that she had a source of happiness outside of her daughters, because all of her friends and family, other than her daughters, were back in Indiana. Let's see. After months of investigation and after working through a list of about 20 or more Jeffs possibly associated with Suzanne, Jeff Liebler, a former high school friend of Suzanne, was identified and interviewed. Liebler provided the following information. On November 4th, 2020, Special Agent Grushing and Special Agent Harris spoke with Liebler on the phone and recognized his voice as being the voice on Suzanne's pen recording. After discussing his relationship with Suzanne and Liebler talking about their secret meetings, he asked to continue the interview in person. He said after he learned Suzanne went missing, he figured there's no way she's alive. He said he is not proud about not coming forward, giving reasons to agents that he has 6 kids and a wife and will lose his job. Liebler said when this happened, he thought Suzanne was abducted, so he kept quiet. He stated time went by and he did not want her girls to find out. He does not think Barry knew about him and Suzanne or what set him off, other than the fact that the guy could be easily set off by anything, I'm sure you guys know that, end quote. Let's see, the quote started with, there's no way she's alive. And then they didn't have a beginning of that, end quote. Oh, wait, here it is. Sorry. He does not think Barry knew about him and Suzanne or what set him off, other than the fact that the guy could be easily set off by anything, I'm sure you guys know that, end quote. Liebler said he did not feel like he had anything to add and did not want to hurt anybody. On November 13th, 2020, Special Agent Grushing and Special Agent Harris interviewed Liebler in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Liebler said after Suzanne's first message of howdy stranger to him in 2018, they began talking on the phone. Liebler said he was nervous to talk to agents and what he did was disgraceful. In the summer after Liebler's first year of college in Indiana, he attended a party with some friends at Suzanne's house. Barry and Suzanne were a couple, but Barry was not at the party. Liebler said he and Suzanne kind of hooked up, not really, at the party. Liebler played golf almost daily at the time, and Barry worked on the golf course. Okay, so they do have that old beef. Not familiar about this case. Yeah, I thought you said that yesterday or on another day, Mr. Field. So I appreciate you being here. And if you want to duck, of course, you're more than welcome. But if you want to stay, of course, you're more than welcome. Barry found out about Liebler and Suzanne hooking up at the party. Upon seeing Liebler on the golf course, Barry jumped off the tractor and he was ready to beat me down, end quote. Liebler told Barry, quote, "You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose everything," end quote. Liebler talked him out of it, and that was the last interaction Liebler had with Barry. Liebler said he did not talk to Suzanne until 2018 following that night in Indiana. He explained, quote, "I'd tell her I carried a torch for her all that time." Liebler and Suzanne used FaceTime to communicate in 2018, though Liebler's daughter saw one of their communications in late 2018, and Liebler told Suzanne, I'm going to just start saying Jeff because it gets annoying saying that word again and again. Liebler. It's still annoying. I'm sorry, I was saying it wrong. I think it's Liebler, maybe Liebler. Anyway, we'll say Jeff. Jeff told Suzanne they had to stop. They did not speak until around Christmas 2018 because Jeff deleted Facebook, Instagram, and all messaging between him and Suzanne. Around Christmas 2018, Suzanne found Jeff's LinkedIn account and sent a message with words to the effect of, quote, "I'm worried sick about you. Are you okay?" End quote. Jeff responded to the message and they began talking again. First in a platonic way, then their relationship progressed again. Jeff said they communicated through FaceTime but did not physically see each other in 2018. Suzanne and Jeff communicated regularly from late 2018 through May 9th, 2020. And she provided him with numerous reasons why she wanted to leave Barry. Between February 19 and February 2020, Jeff and Suzanne met each other in New Orleans, Florida, Indianapolis, Michigan, Dallas, and again in Florida. During the last 5 trips, they stayed in hotels, talked and shared meals, and had consensual sex. Jeff had not traveled to Colorado to see Suzanne, partly because Suzanne said Barry had surveillance cameras. Partly because Suzanne said Barry has surveillance cameras are all around the house. And that's important to note because where was the surveillance from this crucial time period, right? Excuse me. Jeff stated, quote, "Here's what she told me about her relationship with Barry. Not good, lots of fights, very argumentative. Felt like it was horrible for her health mentally," end quote. Jeff asked Suzanne if she felt, let me read the footnote here before getting to the next page. Jeff also told agents on November 13th, 2020, that he was last in Colorado when he visited Denver in 2016. So to finish that sentence, Jeff asked Suzanne if she felt afraid Barry would hurt her, and she answered, he would never cross that line. He's learned," end quote. Jeff took that to mean something happened physically one time to Suzanne, whether Barry shoved her or hit her. Agents asked Jeff when Suzanne first said she loved him, and he replied she told him that in 2018. They discussed that they were soulmates and, quote, "meant for each other," end quote. They eventually exchanged words of love to each other. Jeff explained they were soulmates because of their approaches to the world and to people. Jeff said that Suzanne treated people well, not simply for social stair climbing or status benefits. Jeff was striving to be that type of person. He stated he was not a good person, though he was, quote, "horrible for having this relationship with Suzanne." When agents asked Jeff, well, I'd say he was more horrible for not coming forward immediately, but no judgment. Oh yeah, Fred, how are your legs? How's your recovery? So today's Tuesday, so you had your procedure yesterday. How are you doing? Thank you for reminding me there, Anna Bees. I hope you're finding out what's going on with your legs, Fred. Yeah, absolutely. I hope you're feeling good. When agents asked Jeff how Suzanne took steps to be careful about Barry knowing her travel activities, he said when Barry called, Jeff left the room. This happened once in Suzanne's hotel room in New Orleans. Agents asked Jeff what other steps they took to conceal their relationship from Barry. He responded, quote, "We talked all the time about protect for the kids, for family, all that stuff," end quote. Suzanne knew when Jeff was going to be working in his car, and he never initiated conversation with a phone call or a text. They communicated through his LinkedIn account in 2019 to determine when they could FaceTime. Agents asked Jeff if Suzanne ever spoke about leaving Barry. He said Suzanne's plan was to get out of the house and to college before. Oh, yeah, it's redacted, but you can't even see that there's a redacted part. He said Suzanne's plan was to get redacted, that would be Macy, out of the house and to college before Suzanne would probably go on her own, end quote. Jeff and Suzanne talked about one day being together. She told Jeff this was not about him. It's about her getting away. It's, quote, "It's about her getting away," end quote. He said Suzanne was not happy mentally and she could not take it and it was wearing her out. Jeff had a corporate LinkedIn account and he created a second account to use to communicate with Suzanne. They stopped talking on the phone in December 2019. Jeff deleted his second LinkedIn account of redacted after Suzanne disappeared when he thought she was abducted. Jeff said, quote, "I didn't want her legacy to be she had an affair with this guy," end quote. Right, but you also want to help find her. Like, I mean, he was obviously confused. Jeff and Suzanne stopped talking over the phone in December 2019 because she told him, "We can't use," quote, "we can't use the phone anymore," end quote. She said, quote, "Barry watches everything I do and I'm afraid he's gonna find out," end quote. Suzanne mentioned an incident when she was on the beach in Mexico listening to music on her phone and Barry was suspicious of her. Jeff said, quote, she started handing her phone over to him and told him, "Do whatever you want, go through it." Anna B says, "I guess the surveillance cameras didn't have audio." Yeah, I don't think any surveillance from the house was ever recovered. I think that that was some of the evidence maybe that Barry tampered with. But I don't even think they were on during this crucial time period. I think he claimed there was a glitch in the system. You know, just like Watt's case, right? And law enforcement does think that he learned a lot from the Watts case, which was in Colorado a few years prior, and also from the Patrick Frazee case that was also in 2018. They assumed that he paid attention to those cases, as well as that case in New England with the mother of five, Jennifer Dulos. They think that he learned from that case too, that he was kind of mentally taking notes from those cases to try to skate away from getting caught, looking at the mistakes that these other domestic violence perpetrators made. Let's see. Jeff and Suzanne used WhatsApp because they could talk and leave messages, but there was no phone record of it. Jeff did not think there would be call records of them talking past December 2019. In October 2019, Jeff had a sales meeting in Dallas and Suzanne was traveling to Phoenix. She left a day early and went through Dallas, staying at the same hotel Jeff stayed, the Galleria in northern Dallas with the ice rink inside. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's very cool. They spent 2 nights at the hotel together. Suzanne was going to the Phoenix conference to become a certified fitness instructor with the mindset of, quote, what am I going to do if I leave him, end quote. She talked to Jeff about Barry's mood and anger, saying, quote, as long as he gets what he wants, everything's fine, end quote. Jeff said he and Suzanne had a mutual understanding not to dive too much into the problems they had with their spouses. Jeff knew Suzanne had discussions with redacted in March or April 2020 about separating from Barry and getting a divorce. Suzanne told Barry, quote, I just want peace, end quote, explaining she wanted it to be peaceful for the girls. Jeff thought that in February 2020, Suzanne was wanting to break out on her own, but still wanted to wait until Macy graduated. Jeff said Suzanne felt some shame that she had so much maturely, and she spoke with Jeff about life transformation. Barry held the huge houses and Range Rovers over Suzanne's head. Barry told her things like, I provide these things for you. Oh, wait, quote, I provide these things for you. You have the greatest life. You have everything. $1 million home. You have Range Rovers, end quote. Jeff said they never made concrete plans, but she told him several times when she does leave Barry, she would go without contacting Jeff for a while. Suzanne said she was not doing this for Jeff, but for herself. Interesting. Suzanne's talk of leaving Barry was like, quote, wave with like a higher frequency of waves, end quote. Jeff said Suzanne had faith God would provide for her and she would figure it out. Jeff did not know she had an inheritance until he read about it in the media. In March through May of 2020, Jeff and Suzanne talked a lot about mountain biking, and Jeff looked at the trails online in Colorado, and they sometimes talked before Suzanne went for a ride. Suzanne put her bike in her car on her way to the trailheads and did not often ride in her own neighborhood. She normally rode in the evening for about half an hour or 40 minutes. In the first week of May 2020, Suzanne told Jeff the girls were going on a camping trip that weekend. Jeff said, quote, anytime she was alone with Barry, she dreaded it, didn't want to be alone with him, end quote. Barry refused to go to counseling, though Suzanne offered. Barry told her, quote, you just need to be who you were to me and everything will be fine, end quote. Jeff said he thought 2 things could have happened to Suzanne. Quote, Barry, either learned about us and snapped, or maybe she told him she was going to leave him, end quote. Agents asked Jeff what Barry's reaction was when Suzanne mentioned she wanted to separate from him. Jeff responded, quote, he was very much against it. She would say, because he wants everything to be perfect on the outside, end quote. Jeff said he does not believe Suzanne reached out to him with the intention of having a boyfriend. He described Suzanne as beautiful, kind, someone who treated people well, and a good listener, traits that attracted him to her. Jeff said Suzanne is naive in some ways because she assumed the best of people and, quote, did not see what lies beneath. Let's see what's up here. Right leg, Fred says, I'm going to catch up with you guys and then get back to it. Take a little break here. Right leg a little sore, but not bad. Albeit of an embarrassing procedure, but worst part was the IV of Lasix requiring 5 restroom stops on the way home. LOL. Yeah, that's a bummer. Anna B says, I'm just saying because he didn't know about her affair. And right. I figured that's what you were meaning, Annabise. Thanks for clarifying. Have not decided on doing left leg. Why, Fred? It's spelled Lasix, Fred. It's a diuretic, but I'm sure you know that. And embarrassment, I can suck it up, but the Lasix is a pain. Maybe take an adult diaper, LOL. Yes, Fred, that's a good idea. Yeah, there you go. No shame in anything that happens with any procedure or illness. I hope you feel better soon. Yeah, easier said than done, right? And Sheila says, how you doing, Fred? Glad one leg over. Sorry, it was kind of bad. They do the same thing to women for bladder ultrasound. Full your bladder with a gallon of water and you got to hold it. Really? I feel for you. Fred says, I asked my nurse if she, I don't know what that word, I asked my nurse, Neglathon, if she had witnessed the procedure and had to witness seeing all of my private parts. She said, too many, LOL. That's funny. Did I highlight that one yet? Okay, let's get back to this. Just a little breather. Where were we? While Suzanne lived in Indiana with Barry, he acted suspiciously, like he was having an affair. Jeff added, quote, and then I can tell you too, she, over the last year, she's like, another quote, I'd love for him to find a new girlfriend and just get out, end quote, within the quote, and the other quote. Jeff said that not so long as Suzanne gratified Barry sexually, it was fine. He added, I don't think she was deriving a lot of pleasure out of things, end quote. When agents asked Jeff if he thought that or knew it, he said, I know. She said it's not pleasurable. Suzanne told Jeff that she would not completely starve Barry of sex. Agents confirmed with Jeff that he no longer had the phone he used to speak with Suzanne. He explained that in June 2020, he dropped his phone on his stone steps and the faceplate shattered. Jeff sent the phone into his company and they sent him a new one. The phone company sent Jeff had the phone the company sent Jeff had all the same corporate apps on it as his previous phone, but none of the personal apps. Jeff provided consent forms for his DNA, phone records, and the logins for his social media accounts. Your affiant served such warrants for LinkedIn and WhatsApp and received records for Suzanne's LinkedIn account. But let me read a footnote here. 23, Jeff's DNA was collected and to date has not matched any known items of evidence collected in the case. Oh, nurse sent next door asked. Yeah, that got all messed up, huh? I asked my nurse next door. Oh, you live next door to a nurse? Nurses are so smart, like Annabise. They usually know more than doctors in some regards. Fred, we don't even notice people's privates. We are there to help. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see. And they're used to it. With photos and text shared between her and Jeff, your affiant also served warrants on the Verizon account for Jeff. The following data was collected. 1. From LinkedIn, Jeff and Suzanne sent 59 communications to each other on Saturday, May 9th, with the last outgoing from Suzanne occurring at 2:11 p.m. when she messaged, I'm on WA. Quote, I'm on WA. Jeff sent response messages at 2:39 p.m., 2:46 p.m., and 2:47 p.m. that Suzanne did not answer. He also sent messages on May 10th and May 11th that were not answered. Excuse me. 2. Verizon records contained 738 calls between Jeff and Suzanne's redacted number between October 2018 and December 2019. Suzanne called Jeff 74 times under international calls from the Cayman Islands between January 14th to the 18th of 2019. On December 18th, 2020, agents contacted Jeff by phone and showed him some of the results of the LinkedIn messages and photos between him and Suzanne on May 9th, 2020. On May 9th, 2020, Suzanne sent a message to Jeff at 11:42 a.m. that stated, guess who's alone again, end quote. Jeff told agents that message meant they were free to talk, and Suzanne was not surprised that Barry left her alone at home on Mother's Day. Jeff confirmed that Suzanne's message at 2:12 p.m. or that was the day before Mother's Day, sorry. Jeff confirmed that Suzanne's message at 2:11 p.m. I'm on WA referred to her starting WhatsApp so they could share video with each other. From referencing the LinkedIn messages before and after, Jeff does not believe they used WhatsApp that time or later that day. Suzanne sent this photo to Jeff at 2:03 p.m. And she does look so happy. Let me see if I can show it to you guys. It's kind of haunting because we know that that's her last proof of life. And she's outside sunbathing. And, you know, it's funny because she almost looks like she has a black eye there, but I think it's just the lighting. You see that? It really looks like she has a black eye. It's like that panda eye thing. But maybe that was an omen, right? Seriously. Okay. Let's see where we at. Funny part was doctor said, ouch, every time she stuck me. I said, hey, that's my job, LOL. That is funny. So sad for Jeff. Oh, I know. And for him to, like, I don't know if he had a therapist or somebody he could talk to about this. Like, how insane if he didn't have a therapist or somebody he could talk to about all this while it was going on, you know, while she was missing and all the way up until now. Seriously. She was so pretty, wasn't she? She was gorgeous. Yeah. I mean, her and Barry and the girls are all like movie star gorgeous, but obviously, you know, Barry was a nightmare and she was very unhappy. And the girls, it's really sad with the girls. I mean, gaslit from their dad. I feel like the older one has an incestuous relationship with him, even if it's just kind of metaphorically incestuous. It's a very inappropriate alliance, in my opinion. Let's see. Jeff's message to Suzanne at 2:46 p.m. Hey, your weather looks great. May have been in reference to the picture she sent earlier or to Jeff checking conditions in Colorado through the internet. Suzanne never answered that message or subsequent messages by Jeff wishing her a happy Mother's Day on May 10th. From the return of search warrant on Jeff's Verizon phone, Jeff used the same Michigan switch market ID for all 23 communications from May 7th to the 11th, 2020, as he did on the day of the November 13th, 2020 interview with the agents at the office of the FBI in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I love Ann Arbor. I've been there a couple of times. Really cute town. Following the interview, Jeff said sent agents a screenshot of his credit card charges for his Costco wholesale credit card, redacted under the name Jeffrey S. Libler for May 2020 noted our charges in Wixom, Michigan for $292.40 at Menards on May 7th, 2020, and a charge of $26.58 in Howell, Michigan on May 9th, 2020. Let me read this footnote. 24 FBI agent showed this May 9th, 2020, 2:44 p.m. photo of Suzanne to Berry multiple times in March and April 2021, since it may be the last proof of life for her, independent of Berry. I need a break real quick. I don't want to hurt myself. This is the best yogurt, this little Noosa brand. I actually get it at Costco, but it's so delicious. Okay. I'll take a sip of coffee too. I don't know this case at all, so I'm learning from you. Now I'm wondering what you're talking about with their girls. Oh, the older daughter is just, her and Barry are kind of creepy together, in my opinion. Mallory. And then Macy and the dad seem to have an appropriate alliance. But, there's pictures of him where they look like they're, pictures of them together where they look like they're dating. And she made a comment to, I think, to him on a Father's Day or something, how like no guy could ever fill his shoes. And it was just too much, in my opinion. But I got daddy issues of my own, right? Let's see. Sorry, I've got to get back to this. Where were we? The charges of May 9th, 2020, and Howell, Michigan on May 11th, 2020. These charges are consistent with home improvement stores and the dock project Jeff told agents he was working on in the days leading up to and through Mother's Day weekend at his Michigan residence. Jeff also messaged Suzanne on 5/7/2020 saying he went to Menards, and Suzanne asked him on 5/9/2020 whether he had finished his doc. Section 3, Barry's initial statements, May 2020 to July 2020. This should be really interesting. Actual temp 90 degrees here and humid. I know it's like that here too, Fred. Oh no, I'm so late. I never get notifications, Jazz and everyone. Hey, Fireflies. Sorry that you're not getting your notifications. Sometimes, like if you unsub and then resub and turn on your notification bell, it might work. But I also think I'm shadow banned, so I don't know that anybody gets notifications. Southeast Oklahoma is not pretty. Same here, Fred Cherry says. Fireflies. My LT paramedic was my driver and has an crazy skill knowing where gas stations are. Oh, good, for when you had to keep going to the restroom. And let's see. Man, it's an hour and 15 minutes. And I'm at page 20. That's not bad for an hour and 15 minutes. That's faster than I thought. Let's see, where was I? The beginning of section 3, Barry's initial statements, May 2020 to July 2020. Your affiant selected statements from some of the interviews of Barry with CBI, CCSO, and the FBI from May 2020 through July 2020. Barry's assertions in these interviews are referenced throughout the remainder of this affidavit. to include substantial changes that Barry makes in an attempt to fit any evidence presented to him by CBI agents. The following statements were summarized for the purpose of this affidavit. Barry interview, May 13th. On May 13th, 2020, CBI agent Joseph Cahill and CCSO detective Robin Burgess interviewed Barry. Barry provided a background of his marriage to Suzanne, his daughters, Mallory and Macy, and their living arrangements. Barry explained they resided in Arcadia, Indiana until approximately 2018. At that time, he sold his landscaping business, BLM Landscaping, and other real properties and moved to the residence at 19059 Puma Path, Salida, Chaffee County. Barry, an avid hunter and outdoorsman, explained they moved to Salida to be closer to Mallory, who attends Western State University in Gunnison, Colorado. Barry stated that he and Suzanne and Macy reside at 19057 Puma Path. There are no other persons who live at this residence. Barry stated he has a family Verizon cellular phone account for his daughters, Macy and Mallory, Suzanne's, along with redacted and redacted phones. That'd be Macy and Mallory. So it has all their phone numbers. That's what's redacted, and the names of the kids. Barry has an iPhone 5S. He did not know the model of Suzanne's Apple cell phone, but knew it was pink in color. My guess is that that phone has never been recovered. It was probably like poured, it probably had cement poured over it. I remember a job that Barry had poured fresh cement that the authorities went over with a fine-tooth comb. And I don't know that they found anything there. We'll see. Barry stated he is the owner of Sunset Farms, LLC, a landscaping company in Salida. Additionally, he works as a subcontractor for Deaslin Structures, Inc., DSI, a general contracting company in Salida. Barry stated he has several contracted employees. His primary contractor is Morgan Gentile. She's very pretty. Barry stated that Morgan previously worked with him at DSI and she was fired about 1 year ago. When she was terminated, he hired her as a contractor. Oh, okay. She was with that other company. Interesting. And I wonder why she got fired. Might it have had anything to do with him? Barry stated he is also a volunteer firefighter with the Chaffee County Fire District. He is assigned to Maysville Station 5. And allegedly there was another woman that was also a volunteer firefighter that he may have had an affair with, of course, in my opinion. Barry stated Suzanne is technically unemployed. However, she would complete the invoicing for Sunset Farms. Technically unemployed. I think she was a pretty hardworking housewife and fighting cancer, and the accountant, not to mention the bank. He's such a pig. Okay. Oh, none of that matters. She is technically unemployed. Why not just call her a bum? A freeloader. Barry stated he and Suzanne have all joint bank accounts. Bank of the West. See, because she had to be on the accounts. He couldn't have his accounts without her, in my opinion. Otherwise, he would have, in my opinion. Bank of the West, Collegiate Peaks Bank, and a 501c3 nonprofit, Suzanne R. Morphew Hope Foundation, end quote. Barry stated they have other holdings with Morgan Stanley, and he uses E-Trade. He also trades in silver and gold. Barry stated he owns a black 2013 Ford F-350, one gray 2015 Ford F-250, redacted vehicle, one white 2015 Range Rover, Suzanne's vehicle, and one white 2007 Range Rover, redacted vehicle. Barry said that Suzanne frequently used Snapchat to communicate with her friends and daughters. Barry stated Suzanne also uses Instagram and Facebook. Barry's two email accounts are redacted and redacted. Barry stated that Suzanne typically wakes up and has coffee. She reads her Bible and emails. She then rides her mountain bike around their neighborhood. He's totally lying. She would ride it in the afternoon, but he's trying to make her routine look like something it's not so that it fits his narrative. Such a prick. Let's see where we at. I forget where we were. I think I get them most of the time. Okay, Annabise, thanks for letting us know. So you are getting your notifications. Granny Annie, hello from Vegas. Barry finally rearrested. I know, it's so exciting. This is his original arrest warrant from 4 years ago that I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that they probably used it with an addendum because I couldn't find anything online about a current arrest warrant, just this one. Just glad to be here. Gotta start early dinner and listen. Thanks all for being so kind and awesome. Love it here. Oh, you're so kind. Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about building community. It's cool to have your little online community. Absolutely. It's a nice thing. I smashed the like. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm done talking about politics for the time being, Granny Annie, so it's safe. I can't. I'm just so ill about it all. I dropped in at Menards to drop off my release for next Tuesday. Had to take a week off, do no lifting over 10 pounds. I get to take compression wrap off in an hour, but doctor wants compression sock worn work. Granny and prayers for all. Glad you are listening to your doctor. Yeah, absolutely. That's the smartest thing you can do, is to be compliant. Absolutely. You don't want to be non-compliant. That's how we get ourselves in trouble. Okay, so she then rides her mountain bike around their neighborhood and then does other things around the house. On occasion, Suzanne rode the Methodist Trails area. Barry further explained that on Sundays she virtually attended their church, Salida Grace. The service is broadcast on YouTube and generally lasts about 1 hour. And Barry stated that he typically works until about 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. and returns home. They have dinner and he usually goes to bed around 9 p.m. Barry stated they typically sleep in the same bed. However, if he is snoring, he will sleep in the bonus room on the couch. Barry stated that Suzanne communicates daily via Snapchat with her best friend, Sheila Oliver. Barry said they also communicate via text message. Barry stated Suzanne also communicates daily with Mallory and Macy, is typically home at the house. Oh, communicates daily with Mallory. Macy is typically home at the house, especially with the current school cancellation due to COVID-19. So I don't know if this is him being evasive, because it's my understanding that Macy was living with the boyfriend because of her mother's cancer and the COVID-19, and just not, needing to not have any exposure to germs. Barry stated that redacted and redacted best friend of redacted departed on or about May 5th or 6th, 2020 for a road trip to Utah and Idaho. Interesting, since Utah is where Gabby Petito had her demise a year later, and Idaho is where the Idaho 4 had their demise 2.5 years later. But I'm kind of being sarcastic when I draw any parallel there. Totally being sarcastic. They were due back May 10th, 2020. Barry explained that in 2019, his company had been contracted to build a retaining wall at a site in Broomfield, Colorado. Two of his contractors, Cassidy Cordova and Cody Cox, were tasked with the work. Barry said that the wall was not completed correctly and he lost $30,000 because of it. Barry could not recall the name of the general contractor for the job. I'm going to guess that's lies. I cannot recall. Barry stated that on Saturday, May 9th, 2020, he worked with Morgan Gentle on a job site in Salida. The task was to complete a rock beach on the property. After this job, Barry communicated with Suzanne by text message. They talked about hiking, and she later requested him to purchase hot tub chemicals. Barry stated his last message from Suzanne was between 11 a.m. and noon. Barry stated at around 2:26 p.m., he texted Suzanne that he was done and headed home. Barry stated that sometime on Saturday, Suzanne asked him to take her mountain bike and helmet out of her vehicle, which he did. Barry stated that he cooked steaks out on the grill and that they never even looked at the clock that night. Never even looked at the clock that night, end quote. He added, "It's actually one of the best nights we've had in a while, actually," end quote, because there were no chemicals in Suzanne. He said they put their phones aside. What a freak. Let's see. For Firefly, says, "Sherry, sorry I missed ya. I'm only looking every so often as I prepare Din Din, but hi." And Fred says, "I had so many questions and concerns. Doctor said she was shocked I came for the appointment. LOL. Many arguments via messages before appointment. LOL." Oh, that's funny. Arguing with your doctor? That's good that you had it out, right? Clear the lines of communication. Let's see. Barry explained that on Saturday evening they had dinner together, had sexual intercourse, and went to bed. Barry could not specify a time, but he believed it was around or after 8 p.m. Barry stated neither he nor Suzanne left the residence again. Barry stated that he was scheduled to travel to Broomfield on May 10th, 2020, to get eyes on the site and fully determined what was needed. Barry stated Morgan was supposed to travel to Broomfield that evening and Cassidy was due to arrive Monday morning. Barry stated that he preloaded his truck on Saturday night. Barry explained he set his alarm for 4:30 a.m. on Sunday, May 10th, 2020. And then a footnote from right there, which says Barry changed his statement to CBI in 2020 and the FBI in 2021 multiple times about the alarm to match evidence. Oh, man, that's good. Keep changing your story. We know what that means, right? Let's see. Should I drink a little coffee and look up for a minute and smile? Okay. The dogs are so cute. They're just totally sacked out. We got the little Chi over there and Coco over here, both just napping away. Let's see. Barry stated he woke to his alarm at 4:30 a.m. Barry explained that when he awoke, Suzanne was still asleep in the master bed. Barry stated he heard her snoring. Barry said he showered and left the house at about 5 a.m. Barry stated he last saw Suzanne wearing short white shorts and a white string type shirt. Barry stated that he traveled on Highway 50 to Highway 285. He traveled Highway 285 to East 470, north to I-76, and then onto US 36. Barry stated that he went directly to the Holiday Inn and checked in. Barry said he went into the room for a short period of time and rested after the drive. Barry explained he then went over to the work site. After looking at the site, Barry called Morgan and requested her to bring another person. Barry stated that he was at the job site at 10 o'clock-ish, end quote. He added, quote, "It was just hotel and job back and forth," end quote. Barry stated he drove to a McDonald's near the job site and cleaned his windshield. He then went back to the hotel room. He stayed in the room for about 1 hour and possibly watched television. Barry then returned to the job site. Barry stated in response to the question if he ate that day, quote, "I kind of looked for something to eat," end quote. He said that he always keeps granola bars in my truck. He said, quote, "I saw McDonald's pulled in there. I don't like crap food, so I thought I'm not going to eat here," end quote. He added, quote, "So I just ended up eating granola bars," end quote. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, he just ate a bunch of granola bars. What an idiot. He thinks people are stupid. He's the dummy. While on the job site, Barry explained that his neighbor, Jean Ritter, called him and explained she could not reach Suzanne. Jean, who has the access codes for the house, asked to go check the house. Jean discovered Suzanne's car was there. However, her mountain bike was not. Barry stated he had texted Suzanne Happy Mother's Day earlier, as did their daughters. Barry stated his daughters had not received any replies from Suzanne. Also, Barry stated there is no cellular phone service at the house unless the phone is on the HughesNet Wi-Fi internet service. Barry stated, "I was at the job site when Jean called me," adding that Jean, or is it Jeannie? Jeanne. It could be Jeannie, actually, right? But we'll just keep saying Jean. Adding that Jean called around 5 p.m., Barry left the job site and drove to the hotel where he dropped the tools off in the lobby. He then drove directly back to Salida. Barry initially said there were no issues with their marriage. Later in the interview, when asked, Barry disclosed they did fight. Well, like, what couple doesn't? No issues? Come on. Everyone's got issues. That's cray cray. That's a red flag right there. Barry explained that Suzanne has battled through stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma several times in her life. The most recent battle started late last year, 2019. Suzanne was receiving maintenance treatments at the cancer center in Salida. And this is another really good point, because her moving across the country as a cancer survivor, it would just make sense for her to make sure that she's going to be in a place where she can get good treatment. And I don't know that Salida had top-notch cancer center treatment facility stuff. But I think it was only her second battle with cancer, and I think that the initial one was before she was 20. But we'll see if it says so in here. I hadn't been able to find it. Barry stated that Suzanne started using redacted and alcohol. I think that's supposed to be marijuana, which was legal in Colorado back then, I think. Colorado was one of the first states where it was legal, so I'm pretty sure it was 5 years ago. Barry stated that Suzanne started using redacted and alcohol. Barry stated this drug and alcohol use would sometimes lead to arguments during which Suzanne would accuse him of being controlling. Barry described Suzanne's demeanor as hateful. Barry stated the last argument they had was Friday morning. He denied any physical abuse or altercations between Suzanne and him. Barry stated their daughters did not know about Suzanne's substance use and demanded that information not be disclosed to them because he's lying. In fact, when asked, Barry admitted he deleted text messages from his cell phone because he did not want their daughters to access his phone and read those messages, which they said they never would look at either of their parents' phones. And here comes the victim blaming. Of course, always. Big tough guy always has to play the victim. So here's a handful of footnotes. 26, Barry changed his last sighting of Suzanne throughout 2020 and 21 numerous times. That's not good. Like I said, dummy. He's a big dummy. 27, all of the statements in this paragraph are later proven false. Let's see what paragraph that is, where the 27 is. That's hilarious. Right here. Because there's 26. Okay, so this is what is all proven false. This is what's written between footnote 26 and footnote 27. Barry stated that he traveled on Highway 50 to Highway 285. He traveled Highway 285 to East 470, north to I-76, and then on to US 36. Barry stated that he went directly to the Holiday Inn and checked in. Barry said he went into the room for a short period of time and rested after the drive. Barry explained he then went over to the work site, and that's where the 27 footnote is. So all of that is false, is according to the footnote that says all of the statements in this paragraph are later proven false. So the vehicle has electronic data that doesn't lie. On April 22nd, this is footnote 28. April 22nd, 2021, FBI agent showed Barry surveillance photos of him being in his hotel room, not the job site, when Gene Ritter called him at 5 p.m. 29, throughout his interviews, Barry moved from referring to a perfect marriage and a perfect Friday night to admitting he fought with Suzanne often. Other statements by Barry in this May 13th, 2020 interview include, Barry stated, I just know that there's nothing in my truck. There's nothing in my house. I know that for a fact, unless somebody came there Sunday morning after I left. That's all. I'm just being honest with you. They can be there for 10 weeks. They'll never find a single thing but, end quote. Barry interjected Cody Cox as a suspect, that Cox allegedly threatened to kill Barry. OMG, what a nut. What a freaking nut. This is why you got to stay far away from snakes like this. They will throw you under the bus. Barry consistently throughout the interview questioned why he had not been cleared in the investigation. Oh, he's so pompous. The audacity. that overly confident conceit is a red flag of trouble, deep, deep trouble, in my opinion. Barry initially identified the Cushman's cleaning lady's daughter and boyfriend, end quote, as possible suspicious persons. Barry stated, quote, because if somebody went in and did something and took her and then ditched her bike to make it look like something, then I want you guys to find that evidence, end quote. However, he states multiple times, there's nothing in the house, nothing in my truck, end quote. Barry stated, quote, and she would get so angry sometimes and even hateful, which is not her, end quote. Barry stated, during these arguments, Suzanne has stated, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to divorce you. I'm just, and she doesn't mean it. I know she doesn't mean it, but in that state of mind, end quote. When asked about working on Sunday, he stated, quote, it's Mother's Day and it's not like it's husband's day, end quote. I mean, Mother's Day is a big deal. That's like one of the biggest holidays of the year, probably next to Christmas and Easter. It's not like it's husband's day. Oh, I thought every day was husband's day, Barry, right? He stated he stayed at the work site with the quote, I think I was there until probably 6 o'clock, end quote. In regards to the calls to Jean Ritter, he stated, quote, she calls me and says, quote, hey, her car is here, end quote. And I said, quote, well, is her bike there, end quote. She goes, quote, where does she keep the bike, end quote. And I said, quote, well, I pulled out her car. It should be right near the car, end quote. She goes, quote, there's no bike here, unintelligible, look here in the back, end quote. And I said, quote, sorry to be so annoying with all the quotes, well, she's riding her bike, but I'm still a little concerned because I think she said she was going to take a morning ride, end quote. In regards to inspecting the clothing, Barry stated, quote, yeah, she doesn't ride without a helmet, and she has a light blue helmet. Her favorite biking outfit is blue. I haven't been to the house to see if it's there or not, but if you guys don't find it, then that's probably what she was wearing. Was the blue one missing? It's funny how they keep cutting off his G's and putting the apostrophes. That's hilarious. Where was the first one? Well, she's riding her bike, and then what she's wearing, and was the blue one missing? It's really funny that they're like quoting him with his, like, I don't know, hick accent, not to be offensive. It's just funny. It must be pretty distinct for them to type it in like that into the actual document. Let's see. Okay, so was the blue one missing, end quote. But that's like a quote inside of a quote. Light blue helmet, light blue outfit. She's a matcher. Light blue shirt, but was that in her closet, or did you guys find it, end quote. Excuse me. Regarding the bedding, Barry stated he observed sheets in the dryer. He stated, was her whole bed redacted? Because I wasn't in redacted's room. Was the whole bedding off, end quote. Okay, so was her whole bed redacted? Because I wasn't in redacted's room. Was the whole bedding off, end quote. See, it's funny too that he's like focusing on that because he knows that that's key information. Because why wouldn't he just skip over that if it's no big deal? Barry was asked to voluntarily submit to a polygraph examination, which he declined and said he would think about it. Said he, quote, didn't want to do anything that wasn't 100% accurate, end quote. He also said they, quote, weren't admissible in court, end quote. Agent Cahill observed scratches on Barry's left upper arm. Yeah, I think I'll show you the photos here if you can see it. One sec. Barry stated, yeah, like that from a tree in when we were hiking in the mountains. Again, hiking with apostrophe and no G, end quote. But yeah, they didn't start the quote, but that would be Barry stated, quote, yeah, like that from a tree in when we were hiking in the mountains, end quote. And that's footnote 30. These injuries appeared to be healing several days old scratches. Barry interview May 21st. On May 21st, 2020, CBI agent Cahill and agent Derek Graham interviewed Barry for the purpose of reviewing the victimology packets of Suzanne that were prepared by the Behavioral Analysis Unit, BAU, of the FBI. The interview was audio recorded. The following quotes were selected by S.A. Grushing for this affidavit. Oh, man, my eyes. I might need to take a break for a second. Refocus across the room. Especially since I'm reading off of a phone screen as opposed to paper. There's no way I'd try to print this. I don't think. I'll say that and then I'll have it printed for the next time. Let's see. It might be easier. And yeah, if I have to wrap up soon, because I'm thinking my eyes are kind of bugging out, I might have to wrap up soon, then I will try to pick up later today because I want to power through this as quickly as possible. And I'm on page like 25 of 131, and it's been about 2 hours if we count the earlier video. I forget how long that earlier video was before I froze up. If you guys remember, it might have been like 40 minutes. So we might be at like 2.5 hours now. Sorry to scratch my nose. Excuse me, please. Okay. The interview was audio recorded. The following quotes were selected by Special Agent Grushing for this affidavit. Barry stated, I just wish that you knew how amazing she was, end quote, referring to Suzanne in past tense. Oh, there you go. Right there. Right there. It's over, dude. You just let the cat out of the bag. I just wish you knew how amazing she was. This is 11 days after she went missing. This is May 21st. I just wish you knew how amazing she was. Wow. Per Barry, Suzanne began to abuse antidepressants and alcohol to get away from the stress and anxiety of dealing with chemo and cancer. He said, it's the only thing we argued about, end quote. And he cited text arguments. He added, when she was in that mind, it wasn't her, end quote. Barry said that it was Suzanne, not him, who wanted to move from Indiana. OMG. I remember that. I remember him trying to claim that. No, she was like in tears about it. She did not want to leave the area where she was born and raised and lived her entire life, other than when she went to college in Fort Wayne, I think is where Purdue is. He stated, we men need sex. Ew. That's all we need and we'll be good, end quote. What a man. Barry discussed the pills Suzanne took and how he begged her to stop taking them. He added that she got mean and angry. Barry said that Suzanne had friends she kept from him, evidenced by her attempting to text someone and her saying it was none of his business, that it was private. Barry said that Suzanne gave her passcodes to him and he could access her phone, but it was very suspicious why she did not tell him about some of her communications. Barry said that um, Barry said that he gave Suzanne, this pisses me off. Oh wow, Firefly says was exactly 11 days in. I mean, they knew before he even showed up, I think. Barry said that he gave Suzanne $300 to $400 per week for spending. He said she never went to an ATM. Barry was the ATM. Regarding Barry, which is so funny because she was his bankroll. Such a scumbag. Oh, he gave her allowance. Such a pig. Regarding Barry leaving Suzanne alone on Mother's Day when she disappeared, he replied that his girls were supposed to come home, quote, and I didn't feel bad because I thought they were going to be there around lunchtime, end quote. Barry stated that Suzanne's alcohol consumption increased after May 6th when the girls left town, and she did not have to hide the alcohol from redacted. Oh, what a prick. Barry said on Friday, I think we jumped in her car and went to Moonlight Pizza, got a pizza and salad, end quote. Excuse me. He said that they ate pizza in the car and brought it home to eat. What? He can't remember? Quote, maybe ate some of the pizza on the way home and ate the salads, end quote. Barry stated that's probably what he had. Oh, you know who had pizza after the unaliving was Scott Peterson. He probably went and got pizza. Well, he's saying this was Friday, the salad and the pizza, but who knows? I mean, everything he says is a lie. So maybe he got pizza and salad after he did it. Because, do you guys know that apparently taking someone's life gives you like a surge of a huge appetite? Apparently, it makes sense. I think it also can increase your sex drive. Think about Mo Wilson and Caitlin Armstrong in Austin, Texas, with Colin Strickland. Caitlin Armstrong came home after killing his once girlfriend and savagely seduced him in the kitchen. I think like they were on the counter and stuff, and they were kind of broken up at the time. Okay, here we go. Barry said on Friday, okay, read that part. Barry stated that Saturday, May 9th morning, he got up early, probably had to put a few tools in my truck, end quote. It didn't have a start quote, but that's okay. Few typos are to be expected. Suzanne thanked him for the breakfast and was, quote, perfectly normal, giving him a kiss goodbye and, quote, everything was great, end quote. He told her that he would be home soon and they, quote, could go bike riding or hiking or something, end quote. Barry added that it was a, quote, perfectly normal day and, quote, she was in a perfectly good mood, end quote. When asked if anything out of the ordinary happened, Barry said, quote, no, it was a perfect day, Saturday, end quote. When agents asked Barry if Suzanne had been drinking, he said that he did not pay much attention because he, quote, wanted to have a good night with her. Ew. Barry said that they grilled steaks and did not leave the house after he got home that day. He said that he and Suzanne laid out on the patio in the sun. Barry said that she made soup for lunch. He left his phone alone because he wanted a nice evening with my wife, end quote. Suzanne talked to Barry that evening about purchasing a house in town for $800,000. He said that Suzanne was not on her phone that night that he knew of. When agents asked Barry if he and Suzanne went to bed together, he replied, "I'm pretty sure we do," end quote. And later, quote, "I'm pretty sure we went to sleep together that night," end quote. Suzanne did not leave the house after they had sex and went to sleep. When asked by agents specifically if Barry used his phone to set his alarm for 4:30 a.m. on Sunday, he stated that he just woke up on my own. He stated that he just woke up on my own without an alarm, end quote. CBI agents asked Barry why he answered sex as the number one reason why someone might be motivated to cause Suzanne to disappear on the BAU questionnaire. He answered, "Because my wife is beautiful," end quote. He added, "And that's my nightmare right now. Like if somebody's got her and sexually abusing her right now as we speak," end quote. Agents told Barry that workers who came to his hotel room following his May 10th departure commented that the room smelled like chlorine. He replied that he had no idea why and that maybe the hotel staff used it to clean house because of COVID. Agents also told Barry that documents were left in the room and asked him if he took any documents into the room. He replied, "Not to my knowledge. There was nobody in the room after me. It could have been his," end quote. When agents asked Barry why he did not pick up Morgan Gentile as agreed on Sunday for the ride to Broomfield, he stated, "I didn't want her to ride with me because she smokes," end quote. And quote, "I told her I wanted her to drive her car," end quote, "and she was just going to follow me," end quote. Barry interview May 28th. On May 28th, 2020, CBI agent Cahill and agent Derek Graham interviewed Barry and audio recorded the interview. Barry was asked about the tranquilizer darts in his house. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is really nice to have your support as I'm on this reading marathon. Let's see. Where are we? Fireflies says sick. Yeah, the thing about that was like 5 minutes ago. Are you talking about the thing about sex or something else? I don't know. Like that, like the fact that he wrote that single word on this questionnaire, so revealing. Where was I? CBI agent Cahill and Derek Graham interviewed Barry and audio recorded the interview. Okay, this is where I was. Barry was asked about the tranquilizer darts in his house. He stated that the darts' purpose was to tranquilize bucks to sell them. He said the bucks could then be placed in a trailer that has cubicles. The tranquilizer is a sedative narcotic, and he only did this tranking and selling of bucks back in Indiana. Barry said he has not used the tranquilizer or darts in Colorado. Oh, good that he said that. And let me Barry interview June 2nd. On June 2nd, 2020, Special Agent Grushing met with Barry at a house near his residence to conduct an interview regarding the victimology or pattern of life of Suzanne. The interview was audio recorded. Barry said Suzanne might leave him, but would never leave her daughters. Barry also agreed that an animal attack was unlikely and that an accident was unlikely based upon the positioning of the bicycle and helmet. Interesting. So here's a couple of footnotes. 31, in April 2021, Barry told a different story about the documents to FBI agents. Should we see what that one was? Which documents? 31. If I can find it quickly. If not, we won't worry about it. Here it is. This is the paragraph. Agents also told Barry that the documents were left in the room and asked him if he took any documents into the room. He replied, quote, "Not to my knowledge. There was somebody in the room after me. It could have been his," end quote. I'm glad I looked at that. Okay. And then the 32, the next footnote. This statement contradicts Barry's admission to the FBI in 2021 of using tranquilizer darts and disposing of the evidence. Yeah, totally hung himself on that one. And that sentence that has the footnote after it is, the tranquilizer is a sedative narcotic, and he only did this tranking and selling of bucks back in Indiana. Barry said he has not used the tranquilizer or darts in Colorado. All right, we are at the top of page 26 of 131. Maybe I'll see if I can read 5 more pages to set that as a goal. I might need to meditate for a second. My eyes are bugging out of my head. 2 hours and however long the first one was. I figured I could probably go for about 3 hours before needing to take a break. But yeah, maybe just talk for a minute because my eyes really are bugging out. There we go. Phew. You guys notice that I have my chakra tower complete, basically. I've got the purple up there. Like the purple could get a little more purpley. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. But it's purple. That is the chakra tower. I am so excited. Going all the way from red to purple. Every color. And then watch, as soon as I say something, one of the candles will burn out or something. Like the yellow is getting kind of orange because the battery is getting low, but that's all right. I'm not going to touch it. Okay, I'm going to see how much more I can read. We have 6 people in the house. Hit that like button if you don't mind. And thanks so much for being here. I need you guys. I need your kindness, your love, and support. It's so nice that we're all here for each other. It is the coolest. It's not something I expected when I started a YouTube channel, the whole, like, community building. But that is, I think, the coolest part of it, actually, surprisingly. It's just things that bring people together are cool. And that's what this does. It brings us together because we want the facts, just the facts, ma'am. All right. Isn't this impressive, this affidavit? Man, they kicked some butt on this. Yeah. Okay. Where are we? Where was I? I think I was right here. Yeah, because I had just finished page 25. I'm at the top of 26. Barry talked about Suzanne abusing alcohol and drugs, saying the last time Suzanne was doing well was, quote, the first summer we were here, end quote, specifying that was the summer of 2018. Barry told SA Special Agent Grushing that he thought Suzanne was abducted by someone. I was going to say abducted by aliens. I'm pretty sure she was abducted by aliens. Special Agent Grushing explained that the last similar violent act that occurred in the Salida area happened in 1980. 40 years. Exactly 40 years. So not very likely, Mr. Morphew. Barry was informed of the time of day Suzanne was riding the low traffic area, her minimal exposure in the community, and other low risk factors and stabilizers in her life. Special Agent Grushing told Barry this looked like an intimate partner homicide, and Barry did not object. Grushing noted Barry listed sex, quote unquote, as the top motivation someone might have had for Suzanne's disappearance. Barry said he listed that because of how attractive Suzanne was. Special Agent Grushing asked Barry why he only wrote convict for his response on what should happen, convict, on what should happen to the person responsible for Suzanne's disappearance. That is bizarre. He replied, quote, "It should be convicted and held responsible," end quote. I mean, that's not what I wanted to write, but I mean, inside me, I feel like I would like to physically harm them if they did this to my wife, but end quote. So he's sounding a little schizophrenic because, yeah, wanting to physically harm himself, but, you know, but. When Barry was asked of his last image of Suzanne, oh, this is creepy. You guys ready? Trigger warning. So creepy. I was talking about this at the end of the video yesterday. When Barry was asked of his last image of Suzanne, he initially replied that he did not see her on the morning of May 10th or remember a last image. He doesn't want to remember a last image because it's gruesome, in my opinion. Special Agent Grushing walked Barry through his prior statements of seeing Suzanne and describing her clothing. Man, Grushing is brilliant. I am not kidding you. This guy is on his game. Barry was asked multiple times. It'll be interesting to see him if there's a trial or when there's a trial and see what he looks like in person and how he presents himself if he testifies. Barry was asked multiple times what his last image of her was, and he did not answer the question. Finally, to elicit some response, Special Agent Grushing asked if he even remembered seeing a lump of covers in his bed before he left for Broomfield. Barry replied that he saw probably just the lump there. Detail is remember her breathing, end quote. Regarding Friday, May 8th, Barry stated, but in the afternoon, the text fight was like it never happened. She texted me back and it was just like, hey, what time are you coming home? Hey, this or that, just pick this up or pick that up, end quote. This or that is something that not only Nicole Kessinger says, like, oh, we talked about like this, that. There's another case where they say this and that. Okay, so that's a flag. When somebody says this or that, it's just kind of not how people talk. This, that. Eating the dog, eating the cat. Eat the dog, eat the cat. This, that. Okay, sorry. Oh, 2 hours, 10 minutes. It's very pretty. Oh, the chakra tower and the necklace, huh? Letitia said that a lot. Oh, see, I didn't follow the Letitia Stout. That's Gannon Stout. That was from Colorado too. What year was Gannon Stout? Wow, another one from Colorado. Man, those BCI or CBI agents. Let's see. Those CBI agents were working overtime. Thank you for that input, Annabise. And if you can look up, if you want to just Google what year, that would be great. Because, yeah. Also, the Jennifer Dulos, even though that was on the East Coast, like I said, the agents thought that that was a case that Barry learned from what not to do, that he followed the Watts case, he followed the Patrick Frazee case, and the Jennifer Dulos case. And then was there another Colorado one other than the Gannon Stout? That was so sad. That was such a sad case. Just heartbreaking. Okay, regarding the afternoon of Saturday, May 9th, Barry said when he arrived home, Suzanne had vegetable soup waiting for them, and they, quote, just kind of sat out in the sun, end quote. They sat out in the sun, talked, had a good day, and decided they were going to grill steaks out that evening. He said she was perfect. He said she was perfectly fine because there was no alcohol in her, end quote. So later it says about how they only had one plate, like they ate off the same plate because, you know, how cute that is. Like, that's just so bizarre, you know, trying to bend the evidence to his story. Regarding Suzanne's activities on Saturday night, Barry stated she took redacted sheets off and washed them Saturday evening. Barry was asked if other people had passwords to get into the phones and laptops of Suzanne. He replied that Suzanne told him what her last password was. That wasn't the question. Barry interviewed June 3rd. On June 3rd, 2020, CBI agents Cahill and Graham interviewed Barry at his residence. The interview was audio recorded. The following quotes are selected for this affidavit. Regarding Friday morning, May 8th, 2020, Barry stated that, quote, we had our text argument. I don't even remember what it was about. She was in one of her moods. Sorry, let me put that in quotes. Regarding Friday morning, May 8th, 2020, Barry stated, quote, that we had our text argument. I don't even remember what it was about. She was in one of her moods, end quote. So here's a handful of footnotes. 33, Suzanne's affair with Jeff started in late spring, early summer of 2018. 34, Barry would later tell Special Agent Grushing that Suzanne was drunk when he was shown her last proof of life photo she sent her lover at 2:03 p.m. on Saturday. When questioned about their activities Friday evening, Barry responded that they probably watch TV and Suzanne is usually on her computer. She's typically on the computer, maybe doing a class online. She always looks for clothes online. Wait, I didn't do my quotes. So the quotes start with Barry responded that they, quote, probably watch TV, and then ended with looking for clothes online, end quote. He added that she did not apologize for the text that morning, like nothing ever happened. Regarding Saturday, May 9th morning, I'm kind of wanting to put a headband on for some reason. I think it's getting kind of hot, and maybe that'll help. I don't know. Does that look too funny? Do I look like a gypsy? Especially with my funky necklace. She said yada yada yada. January 27th, 2020. Oh, so right before COVID. Because yeah, so many of these cases, you got to put them in the context of COVID. I think at that point we were hearing about COVID in China. Gene Ramsey, also in Colorado. Oh, I'm not familiar with that one, Anna Bees. If you want to say what year that was and anything else relevant. Okay. But yeah, like some of the worst cases of the decade were Colorado. Ugh. Okay, where were we? He did I already read this part? He added that she did not apologize about the text that morning. He was like nothing ever happened. Yeah. Regarding Saturday, May 9th morning, Barry stated that he did not set alarm or recall what time he got up. He made himself and Suzanne breakfast. Oh, he's so nice. And set it next to her in bed. He said, I think I made bacon, eggs, and toast. I love the way his brain is so fuzzy. He can't really remember anything specific because then if they present him with, well, why did we find these cereal bowls in the sink? Then he could be like, oh, right. I was cereal. I thought bacon, eggs, and toast, but I was wrong. Okay. Regarding Saturday, Barry stated that he got home and Suzanne had a bowl of soup ready for him. They talked about hiking and biking. They spent the day together outside in the sun and talked for about an hour. Sorry if I just reread all that twice. Regarding Saturday, Barry stated, quote, I honestly don't recall what we did after that soup, but I think we hiked here in the subdivision. Yes, we did hike. We hiked to Fooz's that night, end quote. I think that's a neighbor, the Fooz's. Then twice, I'm pretty sure that that's the night we hiked Fooz's, end quote. Okay, maybe it's not a neighbor. Maybe it's a name of a trail or something. Barry stated, I know we sat down at the lake for a while. And I think that might be Fooz's Lake. Anyway, I'll quit commenting. I'll just read. Barry stated, quote, I know we sat down at the lake for a while. I'd say we were gone for an hour and a half, maybe, end quote. He added, quote, it was actually a good day. She didn't drink at all. It was a normal, nice afternoon, end quote. Barry stated that he got back to the house, quote, probably around 3 or 4, talked about the dinner, and she said she was going to make some potatoes, end quote. He said he, quote, would marinate the steaks. I'm probably in the garage. I usually tinker around there. Killing time. Oh, there's an interesting word choice, Barry, end quote. Killing time. OMG. The lying liars always tell on themselves. He added that Suzanne was probably doing sheets, adding that redacted bed was a free-for-all while he was in the garage tinkering. That's bizarre. Okay, I'm going to read your comment, Anna Bees, but I want to get right back to that. Adding that redacted bed was a free-for-all while he was in the garage tinkering. That definitely makes me think that's where he assaulted her. What in the F is he trying to say other than that? John Bonet Ramsey was also in Colorado. Very, very good, Anna Bees. You get an A++. John Bonet Ramsey, I think is what you meant with the John Renee Ramsey. Yeah, that was like 30 years ago, probably by now, right? I think I'm spelling her name right, and I can't open Google for some reason now. Oh, weird. Okay. And Let's see, where was I? Okay, that I'm sick. I'm really sick over that. Adding that Macy's bed was a free for all while he was in the garage tinkering. What in the F? Yes, that's who I meant. Annabee says, yeah. Look at me. I have my cursor. Oh my goodness. I am so sick over that. I'm going to write that down because that to me is one of the most stunning quotes of this entire case. And I have never seen or heard that quote. When I read through this, that was part I skimmed over. And what page is this? 27 of 131. 27 of 131. It's about halfway through. So I'll be able to find things after my trouble of not being able to find things. Macy's bed was a free-for-all. I would love if they asked him, like, what do you mean? What did you mean by that statement? Free for all while he was in the garage tinkering. So I wonder if he assaulted her more than once. I wonder if he assaulted her on that bed more than once. Barry said, quote, just had a wonderful evening and she was perfectly fine because there was no alcohol in her, and quote, end quote. He again said he asked her not to drink that night. Barry stated that after dinner, Suzanne did the dishes and he went back into the garage fixing the pin on the bobcat. Barry stated, quote, I think I recall seeing 4:15-ish when I get up and knowing that, hey, if I leave at 5, I'll get there at 8, end quote. He added, quote, I probably got up, took a shower, got my clothes on, end quote. Barry added that Suzanne was naked the last time he saw her, so he did not know what she was last wearing. Holy F. Oh my God. I got to write that one down too. Extremely significant. I bet you these are going to be in the trial, these quotes. Barry added. Oh, what a freak. Lying liars do tell on themselves. Anna B's WTF OMG. That is an extremely bizarre statement. The free for all thing. And then to add she was naked. I mean, I could be wrong, but she doesn't strike me as the kind of person that would sleep completely naked. Some people are just more modest. Well, yeah, she's not going to be naked around him. Also, I mean, if there's a fire or the kids are around, but yeah, she definitely wasn't stripping down to her, her bare bottom, her nudie bare. That's the word I'm looking for. She wasn't stripping down nudie bare with him there, and not anybody else. Absolutely. He stripped her down. Gross. That was the free for all, was him probably stripping her down on the bed. Okay, I gotta vomit now. He is such a freak. I probably got up, took a shower, got my clothes on. Now I'm reading that in a different context. Okay, he added, quote, I probably got up, took a shower, got my clothes on, end quote. I'm thinking maybe after he took her life. Anyway, let me just keep reading. Barry added that Suzanne was naked the last time he saw her, so he did not know what she was last wearing. Barry stated that he went into the dryer looking for socks and saw redacted sheets, and he dug through some of Suzanne's clothes in the dryer. A pair of her shorts was in there. Oh, he probably washed the clothes that because he shot her most likely in the rear buttocks with the tranquilizer gun. Like that's the only place he could have shot her. You have to be careful that it doesn't go to bone or to internal organs. And so he probably threw her shorts into the wash so that there was no needle mark. Oh, hateful scum. But yeah, the one thing that the law enforcement noticed is that somebody's doing laundry in the middle of a missing persons investigation, right? Hello. And Chris Watts had his sheets stripped off the bed. Regarding Sunday morning, Barry stated, I think was getting hungry. I think went to McDonald's that was close. And I think when I was there, I think I decided against McDonald's, but I never eat there. And because of COVID, so I think I went around the corner to a gas station and got a granola bar, end quote. I thought he had them in the car. I thought he had a bunch in the car. Changing his story. Barry interview June 17th. On June 17, 2020, CBI agents Cahill and Derek Graham interviewed Barry. The interview was audio recorded. When questioned of anything recently that might have been a first, end quote, for Suzanne, Barry responded that she started taking THC CBD edibles and oils about a month, quote, before she left, end quote. Oh, what a weird thing to say, other than she left her body before she left. Such an effing jerk. Barry reported that she was getting it from, quote, a guy in Westcliff, end quote, named Tim, and that Barry could provide Tim's contact. Now, it's legal, so why wouldn't she just pick it up at a store, right? Now, okay, near the end of the interview, Barry provided Tim's phone number. Barry separately said that Suzanne was buying drugs, quote, off the street, end quote, and cited that the person from whom she was buying drugs is a viable suspect for her disappearance. So here's a footnote, number 35. See interview summary of Timothy Anu in section 5. Barry purchased CBD oil from Anu in 2019. See, that's what I was thinking, that it was probably him. Barry interview June 25th. On June 25th, 2020, CBI agents Cahill and Derek Graham interviewed Barry. The interview was audio recorded. Barry said that Suzanne's family, the Mormons, were involved in marijuana and maybe they were responsible for her disappearance. I do want to interject that they were involved with marijuana, that they had marijuana farms in Michigan where it's also legal, and it was legal back then. So yeah, they had money invested in property and marijuana growth facilities in Michigan. Okay. He referred to Suzanne's sister, Melinda, as being, quote, wicked, end quote, and her brother David as being, quote, smart enough to do something like this. He's brilliant, end quote. So is he calling himself smart and brilliant because he did something like this? After suggesting that maybe Suzanne's siblings should be considered as alternate suspects, Barry stated, quote, sometimes when people are guilty, then they point the finger because of their guilt, end quote. Oh, you mean like you're doing right now, Mr. Morphew? He got up, took a shower, then went out to the garage to work on the cat. McDonald's now. Steven Stearns. Oh, Anna Bees, you're the bomb. You're paying such close attention to this and other cases. Yeah, you are, I think, right on the money. He took a shower afterwards, and then he went out to the garage to work on the Bobcat after he had already used it to move her and bury her. So, yeah, he's taking a shower and he's washing everything. I can't even imagine beautiful Suzanne looking for drugs on the street. Agree, fireflies. Yeah. Right, right. No, I mean, and why would she when her family manufactures the stuff? It's legal. Her family's doing it legally. It's legal in Colorado. Douchebag doesn't make any sense, Mr. Douchebag. Barry thought Suzanne and Kurt Seigler might have been having an affair. I think, is Kurt Seidler, is that one of his employees? Barry said that he never looked at Suzanne's phone because he did not want to lose her trust, but lie. But that she looked at Barry's phone, quote, all the time, end quote. Barry said that Suzanne had the body of a 30-year-old and that women, give us sex. That's all we ever want or need, end quote. Interesting that he says she had the body of a 30-year-old. She like had the body of a teenager. I mean, seriously, she was in phenomenal shape. She was in much better shape than most teenagers. They give us sex. That's all we ever want or need. Ew. What a man. I just can't believe she was married to him for so long. But yeah. Barry said, quote, I guarantee you that my tech from my truck and my phone will exact match my interviews because I know for a fact what I've done. Really? Because you don't seem to be able to remember anything. Barry provided the phone number for Tim from Westcliff, who might be involved with Suzanne's disappearance. Is that that's the guy that he got pot from, I think. Barry interviewed July 8th. On July 8th, 2020, CBI agents Cahill and Graham interviewed Barry at his residence. The interview was audio recorded. Regarding the worst text Barry deleted, he said, quote, if I remember right, it was Friday morning. I was working and she was in one of her moods, end quote. Barry stated regarding Sunday, I went in, got the hotel room, relaxed for a bit, went to the job site and seen it, end quote, then added, quote, pulled several blocks off and left it, end quote. Barry stated, quote, and that's McDonald's. The only places that I remember going, he adds. I did nothing else besides went to the job site and went to the hotel. Regarding Saturday, Barry stated, quote, we sat out in the sun. She was sunning and wanted me to sit out with her. I know we went to Fooz's, and I can't remember exactly if it was Saturday, but I'm thinking it was Saturday. We took a walk up around Fooz's and came back, and she read. I tinkered around outside and did things outside until supper and grilled steak. Yeah, I think you're right, Anna Bees, about what he was doing when he was tinkering, changing the blade. I'm going to guess that he already had a new blade, that he had it on hand for when he needed it, that he didn't have to like run out and buy one. Barry stated, if I went to DSI, I wonder if they found the old one though. Like, oh, it's probably one of the things he put in the dumpsters. So no, they probably never found it. But maybe we'll find out in the trial. Barry stated, if I went to DSI, Barry stated, quote, if I went to DSI, it wasn't in the afternoon, end quote, and, quote, I could have ran back to crib and had him put the blade on, end quote. I got to read that again. Barry stated, if I went to DSI, it wasn't in the afternoon. So that's the place that he used to work, the place where Morgan worked. And quote, I could have ran back to crib and had him put the blade on it, end quote. Barry said, quote, I know I made steaks on the grill. That's one thing I know I did, end quote. Yeah, I think that was one steak. Barry stated, we had a lot of good time together that week, end quote. Regarding the argument Friday morning, Barry stated, quote, to be honest with you, I can't even remember what it was about. So some footnotes. And yeah, I'm on page 26 of 129, so I'll try to read another 3 pages and then take a break, possibly. Okay, this is footnote number 36, and it's just one really long footnote. Barry made a similar statement again in an interview with CBI agents Cahill and Graham on July 1st, 2020. Barry said that Melinda and David appeared to be pointing the finger at him and stated, quote, so I don't understand why they're doing that unless they're guilty. But sometimes people that are guilty say, hey, you know, he did it, end quote. When Barry has suggested alternate suspects like Melinda or David, he seems not to recognize that he seems to be doing the very thing he is explaining that is supposed to indicate a person is guilty. God, he's crazy. As if the brother and sister, give me an effing break, when like they're not even anywhere near there. They're states and states away. He is insane, Annabise. What's your professional assessment? My professional diagnosis is plain knuckin' futz. Quote, the alcohol got worse and worse and worse those last 3 months, end quote. And, quote, she was drinking every single day, end quote. Barry stated, quote, I just can't remember any specifics, end quote. When informed by CBI about the long phone call on May 8th, adding, quote, to be honest, I just can't remember us talking on the phone, end quote. Barry stated, quote, that weekend, nothing out of the ordinary happened. It seemed normal and perfect, end quote. I think he's a narcissist and probable alcoholic. Yeah, I think you nailed it. Delusions of grandeur, and I think probably abuses meth or something, cocaine, I think, in my opinion. Where are we? I think I already read this one. Barry stated, quote, that weekend, nothing out of the ordinary happened. It seemed normal and perfect, end quote. Barry stated that with the girls gone, quote, Suzanne's phone would have been on all night Saturday, end quote. Barry stated, quote, I think there was some trash in my truck, end quote, adding, quote, wrappers, bottles, and junk that accumulated over the work week, end quote. He said that he threw the trash in a garbage can and went to the gas station and, quote, got a granola bar, end quote. Barry stated, quote, I'm pretty sure that when Jean called, I was right there at the wall, end quote, adding that he had loaded up his tools, took them directly to the hotel, told the lady working in the hotel lobby that he had an emergency and asked if he could leave the tools in the lobby. When asked if he threw anything away at the hotel, Barry replied, quote, not that I recall. I mean, I could have, but not that I recall, end quote. When asked to be specific, he replied, quote, not that I recall, end quote. Barry was asked twice if he took anything into the hotel room besides his backpack, and he replied that he did not. Barry stated, quote, I don't know, end quote. When asked by CBI when was the last time Suzanne talked about leaving him, when asked if it was recent, he replied, quote, "No, I don't ever recall her saying she's going to leave me," end quote. Let's see. And a pervert, Anna B says, "I think so too, Anna. It's him, not her." Exactly, fireflies. Yeah, I would diagnose him as being a pervert. Man, and anybody who's ever come into contact with him, he will just throw them under the bus and accuse them of murder to save his own ass. Okay. Um oh, this is good. You're going to love this part. Agents asked Barry if Suzanne ever told him she was, quote, done, end quote, and Barry stated, quote, "She's never said that. She loves her family too much," end quote. Barry stated, quote, "We grilled a steak, split it," end quote. Barry stated, quote, "We had two different plates that night," end quote. This statement was refuted by Agent Graham, who explained that it appeared only one plate was recovered from among the items the dishwasher. It should be in the dishwasher. Barry replied that he must have hand washed his own plate. Right. Yeah, he's the kind of guy that definitely takes care of his own plate, right? Barry stated, quote, "Because she started drinking," end quote, in response to the statement by CBI that he and Suzanne's behavior got worse the minute the girls left on the trip. Quote, "And she was drinking the whole time," end quote. Barry stated after multiple assertions, like he's just totally trying to like soil her reputation after like taking her life. Like what a sick freak. Right. He would never share a steak or wash a plate. Right. He would definitely eat the entire steak and just be like, "You don't need food. You're watching your figure anyway. So this is my food." Um, Barry stated after multiple assertions that he did not recall what quote unquote junk he threw away, that he might have thrown away an old pair of boots and had been in the back of his truck. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, he definitely threw away his boots. After CBI told him multiple times he threw away more than boots, he stated, quote, "If there's clothes in my truck, there was probably old clothes I threw away," end quote. Barry was told by CBI that he showered at the house before leaving and showered at the hotel when he arrived. He replied, quote, "Showers relax me," end quote. Yeah, well, why were you so tense, dude? Barry stated, quote, "I change shirts all the time," end quote, when told by CBI that he changed shirts twice after getting the hotel. When asked why, he stated, quote, "I don't even recall changing shirts that day," end quote. When confronted by CBI agents that the video footage from the hotel contradicted Barry's statements that he was at the wall on the job site when Gene Ritter called, Barry did not refute the evidence. The property of 19057 Puma Path, not including the house, was searched following this interview, pursuant to the issuance of a search warrant for the remains of Suzanne. Results were negative. Well, he had all those big boulders all over the property, like giant white boulders of all different sizes. They were everywhere. So he would sell those to people too. But what do you want to bet he used those to cover the earth that was disturbed, and then they weren't able to find it. Because you got to remember that he is a landscape architect. He's also a firefighter and something else too. Well, and then the hunting. Yeah. So then he could have like put like a deer carcass or something in on top of her, which I guess is a normal thing for people to do when they're trying to hide a body, is put a dead animal. Like think back to the Kylie Rodney case when they found the dog at the Prosser Creek area. The dog remains, and they told her family about it and everything and acted like it was her. And he forgot to throw away all of the trash that was still in his truck when the CBI searched it. Right, exactly. He threw everything away except that he forgot to throw stuff away. But yeah, he threw away shoes, he threw away clothes. Okay. This is great. You guys are going to love this next sentence. I think this is the very next sentence. Wait, no, maybe not. Did I read this part? I did read this part. The property of 19057 Puma Path, not including the house, was searched following the interview pursuant to the issuance of a search warrant for the remains of Suzanne. Results were negative. But see, he had that friend, George, the guy who with the military background that was helping him. I wonder if he's going to get, he probably will become a state's witness rather than get serve time for helping his buddy boy, in my opinion. As of April 26th, this is tips to the CBI. This is the part you're going to love. Are you ready? This is so good. As of April 26, 2021, CBI has received 1,485 tips for Suzanne Morphew's disappearance. These tips are reviewed and investigated as they are received, and I can vouch for that because I called the tip line and they not only got back to me, they spent a good amount of time, probably 45 minutes the first time on the phone, and then they called me back a few weeks later. Granted, it took them a couple of weeks to call me, but that was only because they were so backlogged. So that's great. These tips are reviewed and investigated as they are received. Numerous people have identified, interviewed, or investigated due to circumstantial reasons related to them being in the area or associated in some way with the family. Investigation into a small number of these tips is ongoing, though none of them have provided any evidence to substantiate anyone as a legitimate alternate suspect or to counter the evidence against Barry highlighted in this affidavit. Oh, Section 4 evidence. So maybe I'll try to read Section 4 and then take a break. Come back on in a few hours. Take a nap. No. Section 4 evidence, tire impressions. On May 14th, 2020, search teams located tire impressions in the area where Suzanne's helmet was located. The GPS coordinates are 38 point something and negative 106 point something. On the same date, the tire impressions were casted by agents with the CBI for late possible comparisons. Detective Julian advised Special Agent Grushing on August 26, 2020, that only one tire impression was suitable for testing. Ford F-350 telematics. On May 14th, 2020, your affiant prepared a search warrant for the telematic data from Barry's Ford 350 truck. On the same date, your affiant submitted the search warrant, affidavit, and service request form to the Rocky Mountain Regional Computer Forensic Laboratory, RMRCFL. The results of this data will be discussed in conjunction with the RMRCFL's search of Barry's phone. Search of residence on May 20th, 2020. On May 20th, 2020, search efforts were still ongoing at the Morphew residence, searching for evidence related to Suzanne's disappearance. On this date, Detective Julian, sorry if I'm totally hacking up that name, I bet you I am. Julian. Anyway. It's HYSJULIEN. Located as a writing pen that appears to be the spy pen Sheila Oliver referenced. The pen was located in a cloth bin amongst women's bras. The cloth bin and pen were inside the walk-in closet in the master bedroom, located on the ground level of the residence. Let's just say Detective H, located with the pen, the controller, and headphones for playback, and a USB cable. Spy pen recordings. On May 23rd, 2020, Detective H transported the seized, quote, memos audio recording pen to the Colorado Springs Police Department Digital Forensics Unit. Colorado Springs Police Department Detective Brian Rogers conducted the search and data recovery of the memo's pen content. Some of the audio files on the pen were deleted. However, 2 of those deleted audio files were retrieved during the search and analysis by Detective Rogers. On May 24th, 2020, Detective H started reviewing the audio on the recording pen. The recordings appear to run from February 2020 to March 2020 based upon the context. Detective H gathered the following information. Suzanne communicated with 2 different male voices, one self-identified as Barry and the other was identified by Suzanne as Jeff. Oh, Barry and Jeff were both in quotes. One of the 2 conversations between Suzanne and Jeff sounded to be of an intimate nature. The conversation between Suzanne and Barry is confrontational and their voices are raised. Under the file numbered 322-2020, end quote, Suzanne appears to place her recording pen in the truck of Barry as he took a trip to Pueblo. The pen recorded him listening to multiple episodes of Forensic Files, to include the killings of Mary Lee Wilson and Donna Payant by Lemuel Smith, the murder of Vicki Lynn Hodgkinson, who went missing after riding her bike. Oh, what a coinky dink, huh? I'm going to write down those names. Forensic Files. I like Forensic Files. That's a good, well done show. Mary Lee Wilson. I don't think I'm familiar with these cases. Donna Payant. And that's by Lemuel, like Samuel, except it starts with L-E. Lemuel Smith. Never heard that name before. And then the murder of Vicki Lynn Hodgkinson after riding her bike. Missing after riding her bike. Vicki Lynn Hodgkinson. Okay. Hodgkinson's sister finds the bike and discussed it was found in the middle of the road. The case began as a missing child. Oh, I might actually know that one. Her family pleaded on TV for her return. Discussions also included the location of Hoskinson body in Tucson being a remote location, how animals had scavenged her bones, and investigators trying to determine when she was killed. Barry further listened to forensic files of Walter Scott, a man that went missing but was later determined to be a homicide victim of James Williams. While Scott was married to Joanne, he had an affair with a woman named Suzanne. Meanwhile, Joanne was cheating with a man named James Williams. Williams killed his first wife, staged a car accident, and married Joanne after killing Scott Walter. After killing Scott Walter was reported to be acting not himself in the days prior to his disappearance. A phone call is recorded between Barry and Suzanne in which Suzanne calls Barry Shirley, his mother's name, after he tells her how to cook. Barry asks Suzanne why she has to be so mean, and Shirley was in quotes, be so mean to him. Much of the conversation is unintelligible because of the truck noise. Barry listened to other forensic files, episodes of homicide investigations during the 5-hour recording session. Pen recording of argument with Barry. Sergeant H and FBI agents Stephanie Benitez and Kenneth Harris listened to the recordings on the spy pen and collaborated with RMRCFI CFL to attempt to mitigate the background noises that interfered with the audio. Yeah, I think they used some whiteout. Sorry, I think it's CFL. The following relevant portions were recorded. In March 2020, Suzanne told Barry the following, quote, "This is all I hear every day. This is all I hear every day. What I'm not, what I should think, undecipherable. I am not listening to that anymore. Listen to me. Listen to me." Barry interrupting. Listen to me. Listen to me. "I have lived for years being told how I should feel, how I should act, how I should look, what I should drink, what I shouldn't drink, what I should put in my body, what I shouldn't put in my body." End quote. Undecipherable. I fell into this. This is not undecipherable. Controlling, more talking. It's not okay. Front and back. End quote. Later in the conversation, Suzanne and Barry were arguing. Suzanne, "You want me to just..." Barry, "No, I am just asking you to." Suzanne, "Blindly go into this." End quote. Barry, "You don't have to blindly do anything. I'll make plenty of money this year to pay you back." End quote. See what I was telling you? Suzanne, quote, "I don't want to talk about it since you yelled at me the other day." End quote. Barry, quote, "Okay, I will make plenty of money this summer to pay you back, probably in a month. This is something I told you that was important and you decided to go against my wishes." End quote. So what, he's going to make $100,000 in a month? Because I think that's the money that they're arguing about, the money from her brother. Suzanne later stated, it's, quote, "It's all about money," end quote. Then she added, quote, "80% of our arguments are because of money," end quote. She added, "It's money," quote, "It's money. It's about money," end quote. At 1 hour, 17 minutes, Barry stated, "If you want your money, I'm going to pay you back. I'm going to make plenty of money," end quote. "And I told you it was important. You decided to go against my will and my wishes," end quote. Suzanne responded with words to the effect of, quote, "Not against it. You brought it up and we talked about it," end quote. Suzanne's conversations with Jeff. I'm going to get to a good breaking point and then take a break. I love it, Anna Bees. It says, I don't recognize those names either. All I do is listen to true crime podcasts. That's so funny. Yeah, I'll look them up. And maybe they're just super old. Forensic Files usually goes way back. Like the one with the kid with the bike in the road, I think that's a really old one, like 30 years or something. But we'll see. You decided to go against my wishes. Okay, I read that part. Suzanne's conversations with Jeff. Special Agent Harris provided the following synopsis on Suzanne's recordings with Jeff that occurred during her February 2020 trip to Florida. Hard to hear in some places. Jeff is driving north on 75 during their conversation. Jeff talks about a potential job and says he can't take it. Suzanne asks why and mentions the weather in Michigan in February. Interstate 75 does travel north-south through Michigan. Yeah, I think it goes right through Detroit or near Detroit, like next to Detroit, and then it goes to Canada. I do believe. Let's see. Jeff and Suzanne appear to be talking possibly about trying to meet up around Valentine's Day. Suzanne seems to reference being sure that Barry would be at home at the time and would not show up. There is a reference in the Suzanne and Jeff conversation to Tuesday the 11th and Valentine's Day as if they're still coming up and possibly talking about or making plans for those dates. February 11th, 2020 was a Tuesday. Let's see how far this goes. Yeah, I think I'll just go to the bottom of this page. So it's just like another half a page. At 21:08, Suzanne takes a call on speakerphone. She states, "Hi, sweetie, I'm good." She stated, quote, "Hi, sweetie, I'm good. How about you?" End quote. Suzanne and the male, presumably Jeff, discussed her trip to Florida. Excuse me. She later stated that Barry was flying to Florida and she thought, quote, "It's just weird stuff. This whole Valentine's Day thing," inaudible. "But I was kind of happy to hear that because maybe we are in the clear," end quote. Jeff replied, quote, "Well, like I said, I don't want it to be a stressful thing. I just don't," end quote. Suzanne stated, quote, "Jeff, come on. I'm the one who started the whole ball rolling." She added, "I mean, there's a lot that went on last week that I haven't told you about, and not good stuff. So I really think he feels bad about that too. You are not a homewrecker. You are my lover and my sweet friend and the man I love dearly. Okay?" End quote. Jeff stated, "I won't. I just want you to be happy. That's all." Suzanne replied, "I'm looking at the man who makes me happy," end quote. So I'm going to read this part called Tranquilizer, and then it's just one paragraph, and then maybe take a break. The dogs are going nuts out there. On May 19th, 2020, maybe I should take a break here. What is going on? Okay. Just read this one paragraph. Tranquilizer. On May 19th, 2020, CCSO Deputy Scott Himscoot was present during the search at 19057 Puma Path in the laundry room and was asked to collect a new dart box empty. It's PNEU - dart box empty. One plastic hypodermic cover, one Pew Dart book from safe in garage, one dart from box under bench in garage, among other items. The plastic cover was located by evidence search teams in the dryer inside of the sheets belonging to redacted bed. These items were sent to the CBI laboratory for testing. Oh, come here, baby girl. Come here. We need some puppy love after all of this horrible stuff. It does sound familiar. The dogs. Yeah, my 13-year-old loves to get them riled up. And it's easy to rile them up, especially even with two of them in here. The little one that's visiting, I can't even remember his name right now. My brain is so fried. I want to say it's like Yoda or something like that. I'll tell you guys in a little bit once I remember. That's too funny that I can't remember his name at the moment. That's how fried my brain is. So it's just Mookie and the visitor out there, and they made all that noise because I've got Coco and this little girl right here. I better take her outside. I'm sure she needs to go to the bathroom. So I'm going to sign off. I'll try to come back on in a couple hours after I rest my voice and maybe drink some hot tea and lemon and honey and stuff like that. You have done a lot of reading. I know. I'm amazed that I could read 30 pages in, well, it's like 3.5 hours, maybe 3 hours and 40 minutes. So let me do some quick calculations because that's like a quarter of it. It's just under a quarter of it. So I only need about 9 more hours to finish. I might be able to do another 3 hours later today and then 6 hours tomorrow. We'll see. Yeah, I'm just not sure. I'll give myself until the day after tomorrow. Give myself an extra day in case I can't pull off 6 hours of reading in a day. But yeah, I am very proud of myself. That's a challenge. Like I said, after I mentioned it in my live yesterday, I was thinking, that's crazy. And then I thought, it would be good for me to absorb the information more better, and it would be a good public service announcement. So thanks so much for being here, Anna Bees and everybody else. Love and light. Have a really good afternoon, and hopefully I will see you later this evening. I guess it already is evening. What is it, like 5 o'clock here? My eyes are like totally bugging out. I think it's like 5:09. Is that what it says? Yeah, 5:09. Tuesday, June 24th. Okay, drink your water, eat your veggies, high protein, and what else? Get some fresh air and sunshine. Stay out of the heat. Whatever you do, keep your cool. And I will see you later today. Yes, it's 5 your time. Is it 4 your time, Annabes? They're in Kansas City. All righty. Let's see. Me and my little pet lemur. Like I said, I'm sure she has to go to the bathroom. I don't want her to go on me. So I'm going to hit end stream. Thanks again, you guys. See you soon. And love and light.